All right, guys, it's time for the #1 Friday night podcast regarding Star Citizen. That's right, it's the SpaceBro Show, where we talk all about our favorite video game made by CIG and all the development we heard over the last week. And tonight is going to be a super special night for you. I'm telling you what, because we have lots of goodies to talk about. So much hype, so much beautiful spaceship stuff, and more. They only dropped a bomb on us with ATV this week, and we are super excited about it. So I hope you'll welcome with me our standing co-host here, Mr. Toy Grubbins, here with us tonight. Thank you for being here, Toy. We're also got, he's tore him away from his game. Mr. Nighthawk Zales here. Also, the one, the only, Mr. GioGetMoney is here with us as well. So, Gio, thank you for being here as well. So, guys, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start talking, and hopefully our volumes will be really good as soon as we hit the right button there. Yeah, that converted well. There we go. Be right back. It's like we're taking a break. That was so much work to start with. It was already over. So yeah. So good stuff, guys. Welcome. Thank you all for being here tonight. We had our awesome ATV this week, so I'm pretty excited about that. We did, I don't know, there's so much stuff. I still haven't even finished all the doc. There's so much crap. I don't even think we'll get through what I got, but we'll see what we get. But first off, let's go around the room. Let's talk to all the guys, see what they've been up to, and, get to know, if you haven't met them, get to know all these fellas. So, Gio, let's start with you. What have you been up to? Where can people find you? All that stuff. In whatever order you want to give it in, brother. Go ahead.
All right, what's going on, guys? GioGetMoney. You guys can find me on Twitch, GioGetMoney, and YouTube, GioGetMoney. And lately I've been playing Armor with my ore. We have, I forgot the name of the mod. I think Anatasi or something. We've been playing a mod and doing missions. It's real fun, like all persistent and stuff. So I really have fun with that. And I've just been kind of working out, so I've been slow on the videos and stuff and live streams. But, getting my life together. So I really have fun with that. And I've just been kind of working out, so I've been slow on the videos. That's cool. I heard mute. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was like, it went all crickets. Went all back again. It's like, all right. Nighthawk, how about you, man? How you been doing? What's been going on?
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah,
my name is Nighthawk Zale. I am primarily a Star Citizen streamer. I also do a lot of creative streaming. In case you haven't noticed off to the side here, my most recent project, I'm going back into 3D, and I've decided to take on a rather difficult assignment. I won't go into too much of that. But besides working on this new 3D project, I also occasionally will stream creative for Traverse the Verse. It's a tabletop game of my own creation themed around Star Citizen. I also do, on Sundays, tabletop painting. So I'll take miniatures from various tabletop games, Warhammer 40,000 style, and we'll just hang out, paint for a few hours. Also, I do organization building on my channel. You can find me on Twitch, just Nighthawk_Zale. You can find me on Twitter, Nighthawk_Zale. Oh yeah, and I got affiliated this week.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Good.
Very good. It's all working to plan.
One more plan.
There you go. Toy, how about you, man? How you been doing? What you been doing? I mean, I know, but tell everybody else What have you been up to?
I've been good. It was a busy week for me, just real life stuff, but I'm holding it down in PUBG and Conan still, keeping the beat down of Conan going. So
yeah, gotta keep the fires burning in there and make sure everything's all right. Yeah, PUBG's been a blast. I mean, that's been so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, best $30 I ever spent. I guarantee you.
Yeah, that formula is it's crazy. It feels so satisfying when you win.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this here. Let me see what we got to start with. There's so much. It's like overwhelming, but we're going to take it piece by piece, guys. We're going to give you the full breakdown we can and just try to ease through this. So sit back, relax. I know, pages, right? And I'm like, my spreadsheet's like never even stopping. It's like forever.
It's been a while since I've had to actually take notes like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Really impressive.
So let's make sure before I pull that switch that I did that right. There's so many things I break on my stream, like before I go live. Will preview work? Maybe? Oh, it's being so buggy. It's being so buggy. Fail, repeat, fail, and fail. Fail. Come on. There she goes. She's working okay. She ain't broken yet. All right, so the first group of what we're going to talk about here is the new, well, not so new, but they've been constantly developing. I think they said it's like we're on our third iteration or whatever internally there on the player interaction system. And you're getting a brief glimpse here of how the inner thought system and universal interaction will start working inside the game. Whereas now we're still so hyped about getting rid of the use button or all that jazz. Now you'll have more options, even simply looking around the room, including what they mentioned here, emotes. You're going to be able to select emotes as well through the inner thought type system. So you'll be able to, for guys who don't know the hotkeys or they don't have it set up that way, they'll be able to simply look down and still wave and include. And that's kind of cool because if you're a new player and you don't know all that stuff, you'll still be able to immerse yourself in those controls of the game right off the bat. Or if you'd rather have the option of having the hotkey go, you can do that as well. So you'll have both options there, and that'll be pretty neat. So what do you guys just think about the improvements from what you've seen, the brief glimpses of how they're working the inner thought system? Do you think there's room for improvement? Is there some things you'd like to see it do? Or do you think they're on the right path, and going that way? So, Gio, let's start with you, man.
Well, they're definitely on the right path because that use button we have now is total ass. Sometimes I'm at a machine for like 2 or 3 minutes just sitting there trying to get that thing to work. So they're definitely going in the right direction. Okay. The second iteration that we're on now, I don't even know why they even put that because it wasn't working good. But like you said, the builds that they had, it may have worked good, but now it just floats and sometimes that doesn't even work. So I'm glad they're putting this in so we know what the hell we're hitting. Hopefully it doesn't get too difficult and overcrowded on your screen sometimes because it looks like it could be too much going on, but hopefully they clean up because some games it does it real well, or they have like a wheel of emotes or something like that, but maybe they could innovate on that.
Yeah, and I think that's some of what we're seeing there with the they're trying to do their own wheel but not wheel because I think they're torn. And Nighthawk, you might agree with this. It seems like they're torn on giving us options but not overcrowding our visual screen because they've worked on the fidelity so much of the game and everything that they don't want to like have a big wheel come up or anything stupid. But what do you think about it, Nighthawk?
Yeah. Yes. Well, so I'm actually really pretty excited to see this. Like, one of the things, and it goes into the really long segment that they did at the end of ATV where they were talking about how the old system, both the first version and the second version of the use button are really based on collision mapping. And so you have to find the right zone and get in the right space. And if you're not looking in just the right direction from the right distance and the right lighting from the planets in alignment and so on and so forth, you're not going to hit the button. And what's cool about this one is that it's based on a ray trace technology. So essentially, it's not tied down to anything physical within the universe. So now you can start to interact with all of these things that make Star Citizen what it is that aren't necessarily assets or directly in front of you. So if, like we were saying, if we want to drop an emote is not something that you can grab like a crate. But to have this inner thought system and to have it so simplified, simplified, like you were saying. I mean, it's like what, 6 options on the top menu, and then you go into the next menu and you've got anything from 3 to 6 options. It's so simple, and everything is somewhat opaque, and yet you can still see through it. It's not very intrusive. It doesn't really break from the immersive experience, because it's almost like this is part of the HUD.
Yeah.
It's not, but it looks like it belongs to the HUD. So I think it's going to work really well for those of us who have a lot of experience with the game, and also for many people who have yet to start playing the game. You know, we talk all the time recently about the new player experience, and I think this is going to do something about making it easier for people to feel comfortable when they drop into something like Star Citizen, which, I mean, you're in a space station, now what? What do you do? Where do you go? How do you get your spaceship? So on and so forth. I think it's going to help a lot, and it's really going to be nice.
Well, another thing I just noticed, I didn't even think about it till now, that it's going to really help with the VR and the track IR stuff. Like when you have VR on and you could just look and point and click on this stuff, it looks like they're for the future working on that, so they won't have to work too much and clean it up for track IR and VR.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well,
what do you think,
I
Tom?
hope. Well, I mean, it's better than what we have. It definitely needs some work, especially if they add in like lots of emotes, because you don't want to sit there forever going through trees and trees of emotes. But what I'm hoping later on down the line, just let me throw this in real quick, is with the voice attack, I hope they make it so you could like shut it off and just use voice attack for your emote. Just say like, emote laugh, and then have the voice attack run the command for you, and that way it's not even on your screen.
That's a great point. I don't know, even with the hotkeys, I would assume it would bypass that. I would think it wouldn't show it on your screen, but we don't know. So I hope like you, Toy, that we don't have to have that come up. If you know the hotkey for the emote you want, or if you have voice attack or whatever, you should be able to do your thing without having to go through the layers and panels and have all that stuff on your screen. So I would hope it have both options.
And you can already, in the key bindings, hotkey emotes however you want to do it. And you can actually pile several of them onto the same key. So I would hope that they would actually keep that as an option on top of all these other things, because I'm sure there are some people who are going to want to hotkey an emote on the fly instead of say something or go looking for it through a UI.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something there that I don't want to have. If I know the hotkey, I don't want stuff like that, like all the words and menus to pop up on my screen. So hopefully that's something, I assume they did, but we don't know until we get our hands on it. But I'm assuming that was something they probably looked at, and they probably said, oh yeah, we don't want to do it to where you imagine hitting something that's like 6 menus down, and I hit like a number 9 key and it's like 6 menus pop through, and no, I don't want to do all that.
Yeah,
that'd be a big pain in the butt.
Yep.
Well, it's also going to help out with, because we've seen, I forgot which ATV it was, but the system is not. Hopefully, it's not going to get too DCS Flight Simulator, but like it's the insides. There's going to be a lot more control going on, and that's got to be clean for us to make sure we're hitting the right buttons, taking off lights, all that crazy stuff. So it's going to tie in pretty well, I think.
Absolutely.
That's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to allow you to interact with your ships. I do know that there was discussion about alternative avionics suites that might allow for people to have less direct interaction. So you just hop in the ship and it automatically turns on, and you have certain presets, and that's all there is to it. And then there would be different avionics suites that would allow you more direct interactivity with ship systems. So I think that's the way that they were trying to approach that, at least for first iteration when they finally bring it in. But I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it will be interesting for sure. This next part, what we're looking at, beyond the inner thought system, they talked about the air traffic control system, which I thought that was kind of interesting label, because I know they've talked about interfacing when you go down to the planet, the different ways to go down to like cities and stuff like that. But this air traffic control, they're talking more about the landing system that they coined it previously, and how the system actually is going to deal with takeoff and landings overall, how it's going to choose a landing pad, how it spawns in your ships. So that way maybe we'll get rid of some of the collision stuff but overall the system's been pretty solid up to now. It's good that they're doing improvements on it, but yeah, they're kind of interfacing with that, and I assume a lot of that's because we're getting all these new landing areas and all these different types of interfaces, and they're going to have to adjust for that. It's no longer just spawn at Port Olisar and that's it, after we get to 3.0. So
well, I think it's also they're getting to a point where they're going to start dropping NPCs in, and we're going to start having a sense of liveliness within the verse. It's not just a bunch of players running around for shits and giggles. So all of a sudden, you're going to find yourself in an air traffic area, and it's going to be a living air traffic area. So you're not just having to be aware of your own space and what's happening to you. You have to be aware of everyone else. It's like getting out on the street, with a vehicle. You have to be situationally aware. There are going to be specific lanes of traffic for approach and for departure. They have talked about this in the past, and it's going to be more for populated areas. And it's going to be at very localized distances. It's not like when you're wanting to come into the planet and you pass the orbital station, you have to specifically go through this ring, or you're not going to be able to enter the atmosphere. Like, you can enter the atmosphere anywhere you want to, but the reason that ring is there, it's let's say some kind of scanning station. So when you're dropping your cargo planet side, you can get scanned, and it's like the customs checkpoint. You get scanned on your way down. It's one less thing for you to take care of when you hit the ground. There are a bunch of different ways you're going to be able to approach it.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot more interesting when we have NPC traffic coming in and out and dealing with that. What's going to happen when some a-hole decides to park his ship right up there about 50 feet above the landing pad? Is it going to back up NPC traffic? They're all going to stop and be like, hey, because that, you see how AI reacts in like even a game like GTA, right? When you impede AI traffic flow, they wreck or they adapt, or things of that nature. So I'd assume we'd see some of this over time,
or
maybe
very rapidly call in advocacy to get you clear of the area.
Absolutely. So I mean, we don't really know exactly how they're going to approach that in the beginning, but we know they will address it overall. So it will be very interesting to see how they approach this. And
well, it's probably going to be like in Elite Dangerous, even though I hate to admit I played that bullshit. But you do that in Elite Dangerous. If you park in the wrong spot, you get in trouble. They got a timer before they wreck your shit. Like, you're just getting wrecked if you're in the wrong spot. Like, they don't deal with no trolling. Even if you bump a ship on accident, you're getting blown away. Because I tapped the ship on accident and I got shot down to pieces. So I think, and you definitely got to do that in Star Citizen, because there's going to be some trolls in here definitely just camping those landing pads. So I say take that approach. No bullshit. Watch your flying, even if it's an accident. Or maybe you get pulled over instead. Maybe it's going to be more advanced. You don't get shot. Maybe they pull you over, give you a ticket, or I don't know, do something with the insurance.
It could be. You just never know, right?
What I'd like to throw out is, I don't know if anyone thought of this before, but this is potentially another format of gameplay that's currently in development. We're going to have our own Idrises that we have to man, and Idrises have their own flight decks, and we already know that these flight decks have their own flight operations facility. So it's either going to be NPCs or players in charge of local air traffic for things like the Idrises.
Yeah.
Yep.
As someone who used to do this sort of thing in the military for a living, I'm very excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I never thought about that yet. That could be another career.
Somehow I believe the space traffic controllers on the Idris and the gunners will probably have a very symbiotic relationship. It's like, that guy's double parked. Yeah. Light him up. Blocking the way. That's it. It's like,
Send in the drones.
Yeah. Craziness. But yeah, I look forward to a lot of that too. I think it's going to be good stuff. Now, the next phase of what we're going to talk about, I kind of grouped this one together. They were talking about finishing up the character status system, the final implementation of procedural breathing, and the suit punctures. So we're talking here about like basically the pick up and go, the pick up and carry, if you will. And we've seen this in some of the other ATVs where you can pick up, orient object on the screen, and do all that stuff. I think it's so neat. And if they can pull that off smoothly without making it clunky, I think it's going to be amazing and open up a whole new level of gameplay for everybody.
Oh man, just seeing that, I get so excited just for lifting boxes, taking somewhere, transported. Like that's what made me play arcade for so long. Just carrying packages to my ship, loading it up, and taking it to the pirate island, trying to get it past there.
And that's why I played arcades, because I'd go over and sink those boats and take those packages and take them back the other way in arcades.
I see. You were a naughty man.
It was so much fun.
I was making a nice living. See,
I was too, and I didn't have to do all the grind to get all the stuff. And then I bought me a nice farm. He's a
bit of a pirate.
A little bit in arcades. The Dread Pirate Matachi. It was fun though. It was fun. But they also talk about the conversation system in this. And this, we've seen several iterations of this as well, where how they link the conversations, and it's like a choose your own adventure. So all these different character aspects coming into the game and looking at where they are, and the fact that you can interface not only with the object, it's got panels on it where you can see the object status inside of it. I mean, that's really neat shit to me. And I can't wait for this stuff to be in the game. This stuff is what's going to make the game feel very emergent, very real, and it's going to allow you, when you're looting or if you're transporting or whatever you're doing, that you're going to feel like you're actually doing it for a purpose. Right now, all we have is we grab objects inside like Korea or salvage area and stuff, and boom, we have instant money on our wallet. To jump from that type of gameplay to this is just dynamically, 150% the other way to me. It's like that's just it's so different, I mean, magic wallets are great.
So much
physical items that you have to protect.
Yep. Transport, protect, and just not be dumb. Like, I mean, we always talk about the transport and the looting. What happens when people are just a bad pilot and they just wreck and all their shit's all over the place? Then they got to figure out how to come back and pick it up and get it. And I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, people wreck now and they aren't carrying a damn thing. So,
well, see, this is what I'm hoping what'll happen one of these days when this game goes live. Somebody's gonna take a package and throw like a note in there like "Don't touch me" or something.
Yeah.
And just shoot that thing off into space, and nobody touches it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like try and aim it for another system or something like that.
That'd be hilarious.
And then like 6 months down the line or something, it ends up getting there.
If it would persist that long,
cool.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah, why not?
So you could track it.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, you could. That would be awesome.
That would be. Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would actually be a really good training exercise if you're like trying to work up some scanning officers.
That's another interesting question.
That's a good point.
We should note down, like, I wonder how long objects persist in the universe when they're not unattended, right? Like, because they had this issue in Eve in the beginning, like right post beta, to where they started generating cans and objects in space, and nothing ever was like disappeared, right? It could be destroyed, but nothing disappeared because people would put them all over. Like, you'd never find something if you just zoomed for 2 hours up that random direction in space and you drop it, they never found it. But if everything persists, it would destroy the server. There's no way to persist all objects for infinity, right? So,
well, I'm guessing they have to have a certain time limit on it.
Well, and that's what they ended up doing. They ended up doing the great cleanup in Eve, where they, like, I don't remember, it was like so many trillion objects they found in the overall game, and they basically had to say, okay, this has an expiration timer if it's there for like 24 hours or a week or whatever, depending on what it is.
We also have to kind of change the way we think of persistence when dealing with Star Citizen, because when we think of persistence in most video games, we think of, okay, well, we're going to leave this particular area of the map, and I know once the door closes behind me, it's no longer going to be rendered, and everything I see out in front of me, I can turn the camera, everything is rendered right now. It's a live render, but whatever's behind me isn't necessarily there. You come back, and it's just a little node that's sitting in memory, and you open the door, this inner world rendered. All of a sudden, you have everything right where you left it, and it's a really, really simplistic thing. And it's going to be the more or less the same thing in Star Citizen, but now you're going to have these individual asset nodes that have the potentiality to physically transform location from A to B, and just because you're not there and it's no longer rendered doesn't mean that it stops what it's doing. Whatever zone is in charge of that particular data node is tracking it, and the data is still moving. The data is still alive, and eventually someone's going to come across it, and it's going to be there.
Well, maybe.
Supposedly.
I mean, it's vast space.
That's the idea.
The thing is, though, even like in Eve, you can scan stuff, and they kept it there persistently forever, even though it wasn't rendered, right? Same thing. It wasn't rendered, but if you came on grid, it would render and all that stuff, same way they're trying to do in Star Citizen. But it just became so much trackable data that nobody interfaced for like 2 months. There's like nobody found this random can of soup floating out in space, and nobody's going to come for it. So at some point, it just builds up that.
Big Benny's.
Well, see,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good question for the devs, because all these space battles that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, of course, all the little pieces are going to disappear, you know, with the way the ships break apart and stuff. But the big pieces that are salvageable, they need to stay there at least for, you know, a certain amount of time to allow the salvage people to come in and salvage
My
it.
reclaimer needs something to do.
And
That's right.
well, let's
that
say,
big claw's got to come in.
what happens if not even in space, right? What happens if stuff's pulled into the gravitational pull of a planet, like a ship? You think it's going to create a wreck on the planet surface, right? I mean, what happens when you have hundreds of those, thousands of those? Will they always persist? I mean, will the NPCs eventually come get them? That would be my answer. Because unlike in Eve, we have such a bold universe of NPCs, the backstory would go, if it sat there for X amount of time, that an NPC eventually would find it and loot it or scoop it or something like that. If the player didn't, that would be a good way to handle it that I didn't think about.
That's probably what we're going to end up experiencing. Remember, Subsumption is going to be giving NPCs 24-hour life cycles. NPCs are going to have professions. They're going to have reasons to go from location to location. So there are going to be scrappers out there.
I know. I got to not only worry about you guys, I got to worry about them too now. Damn it.
So you're going to take your reclaimer and you're going to have to fight off scrappers to get your shit. Maybe tear up their ship.
There you go.
More gameplay there.
All right. A couple of our notes. We don't have images for this because it's audio related, though. But they talked about R&D and planning for systems to map and modify audio dynamically. So still working on the interface systems with audio. The propagation system, meaning, you know, when the music cues in at different intense moments, they're still refining that because they don't want it overbearing the scene. They want it to add to the scene. You know what I mean? So it's like...
And for planets now, too.
Yeah, and
not
for
just
planets.
space battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to get that environmental ambience effect on everywhere, right? Because you're going to have fights up and down. You're going to just have crazy weather where I think the music intensity would increase. All sorts of crazy stuff is going to happen. And they're just trying to validate that.
What I find most interesting about this particular aspect of audio propagation is how it's going to tie directly into the dynamic fashion of the procedural generation for these planets. And it's going to respond to that procedural generation. So that's really cool.
Super cool.
Where have we seen that before?
Can't really think.
I can't think anywhere off the top of my head.
Yeah, good music.
I'm sure somebody's done it.
Hearing it, well, yeah,
but nobody's done it like what Star Citizen has, because like everything that a lot of people think, well, this is the first time ever. I know that like all these other games have done it, but nobody's done it to the range and depth and culminated with all the other aspects of Star Citizen. So it makes it unique in its implementation, at least.
Yeah, definitely not like dynamic. I mean, I know when you go into certain dungeons on games, the music changes type of thing. And the boss fight, of course, has special music, but nothing dynamic that changes as you play.
I think I remember Ben Lesnick talking about one of Chris Roberts' previous games, one of the old ones, where they had some sort of dynamic music like that, like it would go up when it was intense and do all that stuff. But it's something like, we're talking like 80s, and I think it was one of the medieval style games or something like that. I can't remember. We'd have to tweet Ben and ask Ben because he'd know exactly what we're talking about. But I could have sworn I watched one of his history of things, and that's exactly what he was talking about on there. He was like, "Oh yeah, you know, did this and that." You know, it's like nobody realizes that Chris Roberts originated the spoon. Like the spoon didn't exist before Chris Roberts invented it.
Okay,
I mean, the Wing Commander museum things.
Yeah, not only the Wing Commander ones, where he went over all the games of Chris Roberts, like stuff that wasn't even space related that he had a hand in.
Yeah, I never watched those live streams, so I would never know.
I do because I like watching Disco freak out.
I want to address Phantom Killer because he does make a good point. Rockstar is good about doing that sort of thing. They do have a dynamic sort of capability with their music, but Phantom Killer, I have to point out to you the difference between what CIG is trying to achieve and what Rockstar does. With Rockstar, their dynamic music is more of like a predictive music system. So when you're stepping into a zone, you already know what you're stepping into. Whereas with Star Citizen, it's going to be more of a reactive system. So you're going to jump into a system, and as soon as the pirate fires their first shot, and you're already aware of the fact that you're in danger, that's when the music is then going to kick in to reflect what's going on. So that's where it's really, really different. And I don't think anyone's done that before.
Well, and also even to the fact I know he's talking about was Red Dead, but also the fact this is also player initiated, so it's not always like an NPCs in range or bosses in range. It's I could suddenly pull out my gun and start shooting at Nighthawk randomly, and the music will kick in because I initiated it, and it had nothing to do with the zone or anything. It's because the mood and the environment was situated and changed by the players, and that type of dynamic music play and everything is totally different. So it's not only environmental or AoE, like they can't draw like a sound pass saying you're so close to a boss or an NPC, kick on this music. It's like your actions create the music, which that is dynamically unique from anything else I've ever seen. Like I can't like everybody always dreamed of, you like, I want my own personal band while I walk in the room. We can pull out your sword and all of a sudden the music plays. Here's my theme music. What's up? It's like, so you can do that essentially in Star Citizen. It's their chorus, but just wait in the future. Maybe we'll be able to add our own soundtracks.
Well, if they don't have pimp music when I walk in my 890, I got to demand the reason.
There it is. So does it play a little Rubber Band Man or something when you walk in there? It's like, be perfect. Be perfect. There it is. All night. All right. So this next one's some eye candy a little bit. This one is about the audio. We're not playing the audio, but I saw the Prospector flying around, and I was like, I got to take video of that because
they knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah,
they know damn
well.
Like, I didn't give a fuck about the audio. I was like, no.
I know they're all like, and the Prospector is almost audio complete, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck the audio complete. That's a sexy ass ship, man. It's got the ladder like the Freelancer. You get in that thing. Look at that view.
Bruh, that view.
Did you see that they've done so good on that curved windshield that you could actually see the distortion? And
the distortion on the curve like a fishbowl. It looks so good. Yeah, looks really good.
I actually
trimmed down Freelancer with a better cockpit. Like you can just see, like they do so good with the ship.
And you can see the refraction of light. You can see all the instruments on the inside, and on the outside you can see the asteroids looking back from the mirror aspect. It looks good.
They nail those ship looks, man. Like
I think maybe the door's a little misplaced though. There in that scene where you see the door floating beside the cockpit there, but
that's the old beta bug coming back to haunt the Prospector.
Yeah,
beta bug.
But this is. I have to say, I have a degree in film, focused in sound design. I did not buy a Prospector because for the longest time, and even to some extent now, I don't have a lot of an interest in mining. Mm-hmm. But after listening to the soundscape that they have created for the Prospector, I am getting one.
It looks really good.
Hey, Flying Guy, I couldn't believe it. A mission that actually got the cockpit.
It's unbelievable.
The only thing disappointing on this for me was I saw him go pull the outside camera, and I was just hoping that laser would come on, the drill. I was hoping it'd like come on, and then it's like, and the sound effects for the drill are working, and you hear that whoa, 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 and it like start crunching rock or something like and you hear, oh my god, I can't wait. That's gonna be so awesome.
Oh, man. And it sounds like it'll be a little massive ass little.
Oh, I bet you'll hear it'll sound like this big humming pulse, and you'll probably have that juicy grinding of rock underneath, like you're just melting it down and gobbling it up like crunch. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for that. It's going to be really, really neat. And I am a hardcore closeted miner. I love combat. I love that stuff. But, I mean, there's nothing better than being with the bros, having a beer, and drilling some rock, baby.
Cutting rock.
Yeah, cutting rock and just doing the thing. And just, hey, man,
fun to drill.
Every minute, every beer I drink, I'm getting some more UEC. Just pulling it in the hole, just sitting out there. Oh my gosh!
You
I
take
love
your
this
beer.
stuff.
I'll fly mine with some Cathcart Widow.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Drinking wine tonight though, so that's a thing. Let's see what would we have next. We'll talk audio prospector. Oh, music with again working on dynamic looping, cinematic animate music systems, dogfighting, logic cleanup, tension system prototyping for procedural planet-side music, like what Toy was saying. And all that stuff. Oh, and they've added for those Asterning music aficionados, they've added more music to the launcher. So maybe we'll get a slight playlist. You won't have just one default song. You'll have a little bit more to it. So that should be
Not that the
pretty cool.
default song is bad.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. This actually got me. This next one, I was pretty excited about for two different reasons, and I'll try to freeze it there. I'll talk about it backwards.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
I just about dropped a load when I saw this. I was like, "What is going on with the drone and the cameras?" And I was
This is exactly what we wanted because the camera's going to be in the in the Mako.
Yep.
And hopefully they'll have those little drones in ball arenas and stuff like that.
Wait a minute, there's a fucking drone. Hold on, that little thing right there.
It's the same drone model that they use for the repair.
drone.
Here, we'll play it a little bit. But
so what's
There's a little
happening,
camera
Gio?
on its ass.
Yeah.
There's a drone recording this NPC dancing, and it's projecting it on the screen behind them.
In the background, live.
Yeah, it'll loop back through. But no, and then they're talking about the lighting mechanism, but the volumetric light. Look at that.
Oh my God.
That fog looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, and with the light orb. So pretend you got a flashlight and you're going to a room, you're here to clear a room or something, and you can't see in front of your face. It's just going to like bloom out just like it would in any mist area. But there's the drone. You can see it like working. Awesome. That's really cool. Right. That's really cool. I was like,
so we'll be streaming live in game sooner than later.
Well, not only that, think about the possibilities. If you're going to have drones, like if they're going to use that model of drones throughout the game, maybe that drone could be a repair drone. Maybe that drone could be your scout drones. Maybe they can be launched from all the different systems. There's your probes, in one form or another, and then you have camera ones.
I'm sending that thing out before we leave the ship. Go look around before I get out. Make sure everything's clear. Boom.
Yep. Well, think if you're in a say if you're even in a mining vessel, because some of the mining vessels have drones as well. Maybe maybe you're scanning rock. Whoever's on board scanning rock, and then you can like orient your ship to get the hell out of there if you run into like hostiles. But you have like security drones and all that stuff. I can't wait for that stuff.
And having that thing on watch somewhere where you could get a screen. You're mining when you can see him like a couple miles away. Like, oh, he's coming. Get up out of here.
Yeah. And you have to choose your drone loadouts and stuff.
What about being able to record those drones and transmit that data out of the game?
Yeah.
That'd
be really neat.
Amazing.
Like a simulcast where it transmits within the game and also maybe like straight to Twitch.
Come check my multi-stream where I got 3 drones and me. It's all me. So much Matachi, you can't deal with it. It's all over, baby. So
Matachi.
Matachi on every level of everything.
Yeah, that's I mean, insane though too.
That takes content creation to a level. Myself, for example, the reason I'm building an org to have a sort of Starfleet-like structure to it is because when I stream, I want it to have a Star Trek sort of feel. So when you're sitting down and you're watching it, you're having a good time. This could potentially do exactly that.
Absolutely.
Like we could be cutting from drone to drone, getting all the different jump cuts, moving from room to room, capturing all those moments during the mission, dropping back in, punch it out, send it as a data pack.
And not too many games do drones right, so it'd be good to see if they get the drone feel right. Because I can't remember the last game I played where the drones were satisfying to use. They were usually real clunky or something stupid goes on about. I think the last one I had fun with really was probably on Battlefield 3. And even that one was like,
Yeah.
Well, your drones in Ghost Recon were pretty good, weren't they, Matt?
They were decent.
They'd only last for like a couple of minutes though, and you can only go so far. You're talking about Wildlands, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's no reason you have to have a limit on them though, right? You could do however you want to do them.
Yeah, it felt like a game limiter, like they just got put something stupid on. They have a time limit, like.
Well, that makes sense in Ghost Recon, but you could have the same type of camera operating system in Star Citizen. Maybe not have a limit. Maybe make it more range sensitive. Like you get so far away from the ship, it goes dead. It can't hit the signal. or attenuation. But
well, I don't know, because even now with our drones now, we could fly a freaking drone from America to all the way to Iran or something.
yeah, but for gameplay wise, you don't want to make it OP. Some guys just hiding behind a rock and just got 50 drones out.
That's true, but I would like to have more signal in my ship versus on my foot. Now I understand that. If I get a further range on my ship, and then if I have like a backpack with a little radio,
but then you got to realize you got to give up something else to store the drone. So you might be dropping a weapon, dropping something else. You don't.
Yep, I would like that. And you have to have a special backpack for it.
Yep.
So I think that'd be cool.
That's what I was going to say. Are they automated or are they remotely controlled? This game is skill based and it's player skill based.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to go through a skill tree to be able to use this stuff.
No.
I would like
Is
both.
it someone is going to be off to the side with remote control going, oh shit, a little too far to the right?
Yeah.
Because drones now, you can
I'm
draw a
for it.
pattern and they go on their own. They're pretty much automated. Like, you could do that or you could just take control of it. So I think it'd be cool if they can implement both. I think they should. But
I think certain functionality would be good with the automated, but then like anything complex or anything, it had to be player controlled. So that way, just to not make it OP where somebody's going to drop a bunch of drones and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm covered and I'm doing all my thing that way. So
it'll help out single people who play by themselves if you had those drones on standby. But
yeah, we got to be careful though there, because that's the whole reason to have NPCs at a certain level too. You don't want to start being like, well, I'm just have drones. Fuck these.
CIG,
things.
if you're watching, I worked with drones while in the military. I would love to help you figure out how to make this all work. Hire me.
Or if you could just like give us some drones to play with, like real life drones, and we'll mocap them. And then,
I'm actually buying one.
Yeah, there you go. That works too.
There
The
it is.
Mavic Pro, I'm actually about to buy one. If you guys look at the Mavic drones, they're real cool.
Build it from scratch.
Cool tech in there.
There you go. All right, this next scenes is a group of eye candy. Starting out with like some of the re-entry animations when they're breaking atmosphere. Looks so hot, dude. And then you got the engine trails kicking in. And then
I
when
love
you're
the contrails in Atmo.
yeah, in Atmo there, that is amazing.
Right
It
here.
feels like one of
This,
those
where he
Top
breaks
Gun
it.
games. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Look at that
So
fucking
good.
that trail is so
Coming
dope.
off the wingtips, everything.
Yep.
So
even
nice.
even Aaron Roberts is pretty surprised there himself at how awesome that looks. Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, this made me really excited too. This next little bit here, because
I know they got to have a competition going on.
Yeah.
Like,
Look at that lightning!
The office, like, they just one up each other every time.
that lightning's so sexy, and then the ship's explosion. I mean, this is all the VFX part basically, where they're breaking it down, talking about the atmospheric flight, lightning effect entities, the complete first pass of the prospector thruster damage and stuff, and then my favorite railgun of all time, where I'll just sit there. I think I'll just forget all the other weapons. I just want to carry a railgun.
It was so cool that coming in and then the railgun just shooting it down as soon as it came
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
That'd been fucking awesome. Like right here, like boom.
Or imagine even people just shooting out with
That'd be so
railguns. You see
badass.
like ground fire coming all around while it's spiraling, trying to keep an
Oh,
atmosphere.
they missed that was a missed opportunity. That'd have been dope.
Yeah.
Even down, it's like you.
Absolutely. But the effects are
That's
getting
so
so
lightning,
good. I mean,
beautiful.
yeah. And look at that. They've already got some of the damage states done. I mean, this thing's going to be out. I still
That's like
think
mass explosions on the ship so far.
I'm still going to make a prediction. I think very soon after 3.0, we're going to have the Prospector. Might not be able to use it to mining, but I think it's going to be very close. If not, it might be a surprise ship. 3.0, maybe the Prospector just come out with it anyway.
Yeah, 'cause that thing's looking
Just saying.
damn near done.
I think they're going to do something. It looks
The way
done.
it breaks up in that damage state, it does feel reminiscent of the Freelancer. It looks like a smaller
and
version
that's
of
what
the
they're going
Freelancer
for,
breaking
right?
up, which
Yeah.
Little
is
chopped up
fantastic.
version.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're really
Like the
going
guy
for all the
version.
suits like that, and it looks so good. I'm so excited about it. Yeah. Okay, this next one's just it's a brief glimpse at a couple of the weapons, and even though it's a few seconds long, I gotta look at the weapon.
You got to go back to
Oh,
that
there's
lightning.
some pretty nice looking weapons.
That lightning's hot.
Those weapons are good.
That lightning is amazing.
It is.
That lightning.
If I could have that, I want that as an active background desktop.
I want to
lightning.
see that with the fog and the dust storm and
Yeah.
all together. Throw everything
That'd be
together.
good.
And,
Oh, that'll
man,
be so
that
good.
fog and the lightning, man, that fog is gonna be so scary. Like when they add the scary looking aliens, you got to go explore that. Oh my god, it's gonna be like pitch black with
It's
the
gonna be
fog
crazy.
and shit. I'm like,
Well,
With the
and-
new lighting system where every single one is a different thing and they can control them and you have the emergency lights going, but everything else is dead. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they're talking here about the Preacher distortion cannon and the Apocalypse arm scatter shot, and how they're working on the new. I can't wait till the LMG's in. You want to talk about dynamically changing Star Marine? Wait till there's an LMG. Like, because right now we're using small SMG. There's not even like, I mean, you have the laser rifle, but you have an actual
even the sniper rifles are pretty useless right now.
Yeah, but you have a light machine gun.
Looking,
oh, you wait, baby. You wait.
Yeah. It's gonna make it rain on suckers coming through those doors and those cap points. You can hold a cap point by yourself.
That's what I'm saying. You can hold corners and actually do suppression fire once you have LMGs in the game, and that's kind of that's going to change it. That with the different depletion of systems, and then you're going to have to patch your suit with your duct tape. You get to duct tape yourself, and then you're going to get winded from duct taping yourself and trying to fire your LMG, and then you're not going to be able to run anywhere, and then you can't breathe, so your LMG is going to be firing. You're going to hit your buddy in the face because you can't move around. You're duct taping, and you're trying to like fire the LMG, and it's like got the gun wobble. It's going to be insane. I'm just telling you.
Is that like some type of sight on that LMG? Like it looks like a little computer.
It's an ammo counter.
That looks like an ammo counter.
I was looking for the iron sights.
But
to work.
I'm actually
the iron sights.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this right now. The way you're talking about it, I'm starting to think because they have heavy weapons like the railgun already in production. You know, eventually they're probably going to start bringing things in like rocket launchers and heavy machine guns, and it gets me thinking: how much more significant is it going to be to really justify the items you select in your total loadout? Because I would think that some of these weapons, the larger they get, are eventually going to get to a point where they're going to be restricted to heavy armor only. Because if you look at the heavy armor, it's got that extra layer where it's got the pseudo robotic armature to double up on your strength and your ability to move around. So maybe you're going to need the heavy armor to carry some of these weapons. I'm really, really interested to see how it's going to affect the character customization and determining what specifically it is you want to do and whether or not you can do it and what you have to give up in order to be able to do it.
Well,
railgun should definitely only be heavy armor.
You would think so, but also in addition to that, I would think that it's also part of your decision making process going to be in Star Marine. It's different, right? You can reload there. You can do all these things. I can't imagine you have more than 1 or 2 mags of ammo for like an LMG like this. It's like, when it's out, it's done. That's about it. So if you're choosing to go somewhere,
that's in question too, because is this the type of LMG that feeds off of magazines? Is this the type of LMG that feeds off of drums? Is this the type of LMG that feeds off of chains? So what is it that you're actually having to carry with you? Do you need an ammo man at your side? Like, what are we dealing with?
Yeah, exactly. So
awesome.
it'll be really interesting to see how they break that down and what's going to go on with all that.
Yeah, because in Arma, when I'm playing now, the most I could carry with my LMG is 3 packs. So I'm using those 100 rounds very wisely, or I'm pretty much fucked after that.
And that's the thing we still haven't addressed. We haven't like resupply and stuff like that. So it's going to come into play not only outfitting your weapons when you're in the PU, but outfitting your ships. How much inventory are you going to take up for reloading infantry weapons? How much inventory are you going to leave for cargo to scoop loot and bring it back?
And it's the same thing
it's
with the character loadout too, because just like with ships, it's completely dependent on the space you have available. They have to physically fit somewhere. If you're not wearing a backpack, then sorry, you can't carry it. If you don't have some kind of load-bearing equipment, sorry, you can't carry it.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they're really going to hold true to that.
100%.
Yeah, that's another thing in Arma. You fill up a truck, you can put so much ammo in there. So me and my squad, when we go out, okay, you're going to hold this much ammo. We need this much for missiles, med packs, toolkits, all that fun stuff. So
extra med packs.
I hope it makes their way into Star Citizen.
Always bring extra med packs. Rule of PUBG. You need all the med packs. Bring all the first aid.
Is later on in that video, he's filling up shot glasses with drinks. I want to be able to attach those 7 shot glasses to my suit. Just drag those things around and rip one off. And
like, take a shot real quick. Liquid courage, boys.
There it is on my suit.
There you
and I'll be like,
a titty shot.
Absolutely.
That's
it. All right, guys. We're gonna right now. I've promised you a riffle raffle, and sponsored first and foremost by Mr. Space Zombies. If you're ever shopping zombies, remember buy Space Zombies. They're the best zombies in the entire verse. He is currently donated for the stream an Avenger Stalker and we are going to start a raffle for that we will pull towards the end of the stream and see what's up with that. So that's one ship, and then during the Q&A phase, I think that Gio might have a little surprise for you guys, so make sure you stick around. Also, you will need to be a follower of everybody in channel, so if you type in !guess, I have changed the command to make sure that you're following both Mr. Nighthawk and GioGetMoney, and follow Toy if you want to, but you need to make sure you're following over there. So,
damn, bro.
You see my sword's gone again?
What happened with your sword? I didn't take it off.
I don't know. You keep taking it off.
I don't take anything off.
Oh, that felt mean.
Fell off, maybe.
It's a bot thing.
I think maybe if you don't mod for so many weeks, it like just falls off your thing.
Oh, wow.
No, I'll have to look. I honestly didn't take it off. I don't know. Thrace said he took it. Thrace took it. There can only be one. It's like Highlander. It's like you got to battle out. There can only be one. All right, so we'll go ahead and start that there, guys. All you do is type !SpaceBros in chat and get in that to win it. So make sure that you have all that stuff going.
Yeah, but Space Bros, not just bros.
Yep, Space Bros. You'll know if you don't do it right, because you can check it whether you're Brobuck stuff. All right, now we're going to get into some eye candy there. Are we not covering the new profession they showed in ATV?
No.
Talk about the bullet catcher? Professional?
Ooh, shoot the bullet.
No, I haven't talked about it. You're welcome to ask questions, though. We can always talk about it in the post thing. But I try to keep it eye-centric. If they don't have pretty video about it, I don't have a lot of stuff about it, though. So we don't have there. Yeah. So.
Roll that volumetric fog over and over.
Volumetric frog?
Yep.
Ribbit.
Sorry.
Coming through.
Almost done with it.
It's all good. It's all good. This is my fourth very small glass. I've been told to use very small glasses so I don't drink as much wine.
Kind of like a sherry glass or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the giant spider. Oh.
All right, so get ready for the sexy time, people.
Sexy time.
Holy fucking shit. When I saw this, my jaw about hit the floor. I mean, just look how fucking big that thing is.
That's what she said.
Well, and not to mention the phallicness of it a little bit, but it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I can't wait to see the actual way the claw and how it damages stuff, because they're probably reworking a ton of animations to make that claw crush stuff.
There's going to be people who just solely just attack with the claw. They're not going to want to shoot. They're going to want to sneak up and try to ram you with that fucking claw and snatch your fucking crew out.
I don't know if you'll be able to sneak.
Yeah, it's not really a stealth ship, I'd say. So I don't know. It's it's one of those things where if you're talking to somebody else, you're not paying attention to your comms, you see the shadow come over your ship. Like what
Maybe
the hell?
On Rogue One. What was that hammerhead ship on Rogue One? You just fucking smash the ship. Maybe the claw, you could just come with the reclaimer and grab him boom.
Yeah,
bitch.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite part of the ship right there, the grinder.
The grinder.
Oh,
I was like,
I'm gonna torture pirates in there. I'm like, bitch, get in there.
I'd be like, that's where you walk the plank right there into the grinder.
Any kind of mutiny gets quelled right there.
There you go.
Just dangle them over the grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact, guys. I was just telling them earlier. This was my first big ship. I think at the time, I had bought my Avenger. It was a Gladius, and then I made the jump to the Reclaimer. And I was like, do I want to spend $350 on it?
It looks so good. I mean, look how far I had no clue they were this far in the ship.
Look at those fucking toothbrushes. I mean,
as long as you got a purple rinse cup, that's the most important thing.
I got a complaint about this ship because I'm buying a brand new ship and this thing looks used.
Now you know how Drake on this field.
It's like, yeah, does a trash truck look brand new after the first day of usage? Probably not. Probably not.
I mean, it's at least got clean paint. Shit.
Let's try to keep that industrial. Looks so good.
That grinder, it looks so awesome.
It's just such a random Aegis ship. I don't know. It's just so random. Like, I think if they could go back, they'd probably put this in the MISC because it's just so random.
Yeah, that's crazy. It looks
We're so
good,
used to all these fighters from Aegis, and Aegis are like, oh yeah, we got this big ass dumpster salvage ship.
Everything else is combat oriented.
What I want to know is, okay, so you got your claw in the front, and it's got 2 cutters on either side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you cut a chunk off. Will that thing pull it all the way back into ship and drop it in the grinder, or how's it going to get from that?
That's
claw
what I don't know.
into
It's
the
not
grinder?
like the claw articulates, right? It's not like it articulates and like dumps it into its system or anything that I see.
I think that's the reason for the drones.
Speaking of those, I wonder if those got big because I think the ship got bigger.
Well, every ship has
probably.
gotten bigger.
But you know,
I wonder if the drones.
it might pull in parts of that though, Toy, because there's one thing to look at here. Whenever they go this profile shot, like right here, there is bins up above here. See how it drops in?
Yeah.
Like I wonder if it like retracts chunks and it just drops chunks of metal in there from the ships and eats it like Pac-Man. It might. I don't know.
I hope so.
That would be cool.
I'm gonna get so much satisfaction.
And can I just go ahead and say this? Can you see this suit the guy's wearing right here? Let me back it up a little bit so you can see.
Isn't it the old flight suit?
It's space green thing hanging on the back.
Is that like Scream, like Mass Effect, or what? Like that suit looks so Mass Effect to me with the big green circle on the back, like you have a gun holstered behind you or something.
From this angle, to me, it kind of looks like an older generation Space Marine, like the life support packs they used to wear, like the Heresy era Space Marines.
Maybe
that might be just a tool on its back too. You know what I mean?
It could be. I can't remember. Yeah,
he's a tool.
It's a hump.
It's a hump.
Humpty Dumpty.
Maybe it's extra power. Because like if you look at this claw in detail, it does look like
Iron Man.
See, look at it's got like smashers, like a meat tenderizer. Right? I mean, it's got little spikes.
And then it has like 1 or 2 smaller claws too.
Yeah.
Well, those are the cutters on either side. I think the claw, and then those 2 things on either side are what cuts the pieces off whatever you're grabbing.
No, look at the back end of the claw.
Like what is this? What is this right here?
Those are the cutters. That's why I'm saying those.
Okay.
I think those are the things that cut the piece off the claw.
So
Dude,
this
the landing gear looks like it could just fucking turn into a walking spider.
So like, this area,
even that claw looks like it can cut too. Look at the back half. It's like some of those wrenches that have cutters on the back.
So this holds your work in place, and this slices it up on the circle.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them, one on either side.
Holy crap!
That's the reclaimer's boner. That's what that claw is. When it's happy to see you come get you. Like,
well, and the other thing I was wondering though is like as you break it down with all that, like, okay, right here, because it looks like there's a gap here, right? Looks like there's a gap. I didn't know if it could chunk something inside of it and process it that way or not. But it doesn't. To me, it looks like it's just a big clamp. It looks like this just another piece of folded steel right there.
But it's possible. It might be something to catch smaller components as they fall through as it's cut up, because that's how supposedly the Orion works. It's got all that grinding shit, and then right in the middle is the conveyor that brings it into the refining station. It's
just hard to tell here in the shaft area if there's like anything there, because this just looks like a big monkey head that's just gonna grind and pinch and hold all that stuff right in place. And then these like are the workers. Is there one on each side, or is there only one cutter?
Yeah, you can see it in the video.
I think there's one on each side.
There's one on each side, definitely.
See, because I don't see it articulated anywhere.
I want to see the fucking windshield. Like,
in a different shot, you could see it.
Like this thing may have a worse windshield than a midship. Because I don't even...
Oh, there you see him, yeah, on either side. It's like talons.
Yep.
Oh, wow. So it tears off chunks. That's interesting. So you'd have a chunk floating out there in space, and then...
If you go back to that same video, you can see him opening to cut the pieces.
Yeah.
Not in that one. See him open now, and then they close as they come up.
Like it pulls it in for it.
So they're like little cutters on either side.
Yeah.
So once you have a chunk piece about the size of the claw itself there.
So you grab a whole ship, right?
Yeah.
And then the 2 cutters on either side cut off the chunk that you're holding in the grip.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
So he'd basically slice it here, slice it here, and then it's like got the middle compartment of the ship, and then it gobbles up. But where does this piece go from right here? Does it float up and go into the processor and it's like gobble, gobble, gobble? Because it's got
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
We'll see, how far does that claw retract into the ship?
But it doesn't have any hinges to where it articulates. It looks like it only goes forward and backwards to me right now. I mean...
Yep.
Again, I'm going to stick with drones.
Yeah, but what, the drones gonna have tractor beams and like pull it up and over?
They might.
Even if they don't have tractor beams, the earlier concept art that we've seen for some of the drones, they had 3 different classes or types of drones that they showed us, and one of them was a larger type of drone, and it had several manipulator arms that came out of one end of it, and then the other end had like a power pack. And
am I wrong? Does the Reclaimer come with like a little utility vehicle? Because one of these big ships had a little utility vehicle that came with it.
I don't believe. I think it just had drones.
The drones,
nice-sized drones, kind of like the one off Empire Strikes Back, the one that Han Solo shot in the beginning. They kind of look like those, or the ones I seen in one of the concepts.
It'd be interesting. We'll have to watch for that. That's another great dev question. Somebody else.
Wow, that does look similar. Thrace linked something from Kotar. It's like a mining drone, and it's very similar to that.
Interesting.
2 claws instead of 1, though.
Well, deviation, of course, right?
That's the difference right there.
That's the one difference. 2 claws, no infringement there. 2 claws.
9-legged spider, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a 9-legged spider. This is much more advanced than the regular 8-legged spiders. Can't have that. Since
you guys think a price is going to increase on this one?
Oh, yeah. Price is going up and everything. Speaking of that, we could segue into that for a moment before we go to the next eye candy shots. But price increases, right? We're going to be doing all the 0 CCUs are no longer, right? If you have them, you're good. But they had a bit go out on Spectrum about the fact that all 0 cost CCUs are now going to be $5. And I know there's some mixed feelings about that, but I say it's about fucking time. Because, to be honest, I think the CIG has given us so many options on stuff. It's devalued, and people say, well, that devalues my stuff for what I'm doing, and I've been here forever. No, because it doesn't impact pre-existing ones, right? It doesn't impact if you already had them, there you go. But they said there is like something like over 1.1 million unused 0 cost CCUs sitting in our fucking inventories. So it's just going to be something astronomical, and they're setting themselves for like a refactoring nightmare with accounting, right? It's like, oh no, I want to switch to this one, because it's going to happen as we near beta and they stop allowing those things in the next year or two to actually be used in that manner. They'll be like, all right, you got another month. That's it. It's just going to slam their whole department. Right? It's going to be like, oh my God, everybody's changing shit around. It's like everybody's playing hot potato with their ships. So I say if it's an avenue where they can get an extra 5 bones out of it, and it helps deter people from just stockpiling shit tons of 0 cost CCUs, sure, get an extra $5 for the change. I'm good with that. It doesn't bother me one bit. What do you guys think? Gio?
Well,
I want to hear Gio, because I know Gio's going to troll.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really like it. And if they were going to do it, I think they should have did it like ahead of time. I think they're going to implement it, next week?
Oh, yeah.
It's like almost like right away. So I wish they gave us like maybe a month notice in advance and let people, well, even though the ones they have now, but maybe like the next sale. So maybe people who are thinking about like, okay, the CCU system's about to leave. Yeah. So let's hurry up and cut back, because it just looks like another money grab for people, and they've been making money. It's not like they are going broke and penny pinching, but it looks like that, because every ship sale, we see the sales just whoop, 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 whoop. We're probably going to eventually hit.
I guarantee with the shit we're seeing coming at them, though, they're spending some money making all this shit. I mean, paying people, doing all that stuff. There's money going out. I mean, we don't want to delude ourselves thinking they're not spending money, but I see your perspective. I still say make all the money they fucking can now so our game lasts forever, but that's me. Toy, what were you going to
Someone's
say?
asking what CCUs. Well, I was just going to say House Ordos posted something off the Reclaimer page saying that the Reclaimer does come with a ship called the Cutter.
Okay. See, I couldn't remember. I remember seeing some concepts with it, but I have no idea what it was. I thought originally it was like a mini utility Argo looking thing. It's smaller than Argo, but it's like a one-seater, almost looks like a manned submarine type thing or something like that.
Sort of like the work bees from
Yes.
Star Trek.
Yes,
where it's like
exactly.
a one-man cheese wedge.
And that's it.
Pod.
And it's you with some glass around you and some arms, and that's it. And like fucking somebody like sneezes on you, you're dead. But yeah, that's why I thought it had some utility.
Just so they know. Oh, go ahead, Gio.
All right.
What I was going to say.
There was some people confusing CCU. CCU is basically, okay, say, what's
Cross chassis upgrade.
Yeah, cross chassis upgrade. Okay, at the time, the Hornet and the Sabre were both 165. I know it's different price now, but just let's say they were both 165.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Sabre instead of my Hornet. So I would be able to switch for free to get that Sabre and just say, okay, my Hornet's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Sabre on my package now. Now I would have to pay $5, even though they're the same price. So it'd be $170 for that ship instead of $165.
Well, and this is where CIG didn't necessarily shoot themselves in the foot, but they created this issue, right? What they did is not only that, those zero cost CCUs for transferring your ship from what you bought to something else of the same exact price at $0 are limitedly available. They're only available during the sale of said ships. So what people do, and myself included, is if I buy 5 Super Hornets when they come out, I buy 5, 6, how many are 0 CCUs I can, because that means if I'm doing a giveaway, I can change that ship to something else that somebody might want. So I'm not locked in those ships. And that goes back to me saying, as much as I appreciate options and all this stuff, maybe they gave too many options, and now they're kind of like, they're trying to recover from that. Because while it's not inherently a problem right now, the minute you try to take the CCUs away, which they will eventually, because they won't exist when we get towards, like I said, beta launch, all that stuff down the road, everybody's going to try to cash in, or it's like, oh shit, this last chance, I got to make a decision on what I finally want. Oh crap, what am I going to do? And you'll see everybody playing hot potato with their shit, and everybody over there at the accounting department or with the help desk will be like, holy shit, what do we do? Like, there'll be like 20 guys going, well, 1 million people decided they wanted to switch from a Super Hornet over to a Sabre or back again. And yeah, that's it. While inherently it should just be clicking some buttons, it creates a customer service nightmare in my book. But, that's a change.
Yeah, it kind of does. But like I said, it's a curse and a blessing, because no other game, I don't see other games have a store in their on their website, and it's nowhere near generates what Star Citizen has.
And they also give you all the options, right? You can melt your ship, you can get your credit back, you can put it on our ship, and then that ship's available in buyback too, and up to 4 times a year you can spend buyback coins and get those ships back too. So then you not only have the CCUs, you have the buyback options, or if I melt my entire fleet like I did last year, I can buy as many ships with that credit over and over every 2 days as I want, and then I can spend real cash that we earn through donations, and we can raffle off ships to you guys all year long. Like, I have $7,000 worth of ships that I'll probably never unlock because they're all available there for us to get donation money and unlock and give away and all that stuff, which is awesome for me as a streamer. But practically, I'm just thinking they're going to have a customer service nightmare at some point down the road. And that's their deal. But I'm just saying.
It was before they implemented, the back office stuff. Now, because everyone used to go to concierge and stuff and ask for help. Like, I want to unmelt this, and then they implement that system, and they've been getting a lot of cash flow off that. So I don't know. I just think there should be something like maybe they can add a benefit to the subscriber, even though maybe people may not like that either.
If you're a subscriber, you don't have to pay for them or something.
No, see, that's another benefit you could add in there. It's only people don't want to pay that $5 because I'm pretty sure that's the main people do it a lot. Like, I only have like maybe 1 or 2 ships in CCU, so I'm pretty much good now because I got every ship I wanted. But just for future people, that could be an incentive if they want to go back and don't know what they want.
I would like to see subscribers get a permanent 5% off all the time. If you subscribe, you always get 5% off, limited to a certain dollar amount. Maybe it's only limited to $25 or something like that. But it's not a one coupon you can use annually. As much money as people spend on Star Citizen stuff, and raise all the ship prices by $5. Who cares a fuck? But at least you're seeing a benefit for supporting the thing. They can counteract it, but just from a marketing standpoint, if you're subscribing back in the thing, you get a discount. And even if they do that, it might not be an actual benefit for us. But I think when people come in there and they're like, oh, if I subscribe, I get a discount, they'll spend it. Because I see people doing it now saying, well, I don't want to lose my $20 sub because I get that $100 off. And I'm like, but you spent $200 and some dollars to get your $100 off. It doesn't mathematically make sense. And because of that, and me seeing that over the last 2 years, I'm thinking, just give everybody a discount. Even if it doesn't amount to anything, you'll get more subs. So there you go.
Well, yeah, even with concierge, I mean, once I hit that, it wasn't that much. You get, a cool little card or whatever, and that was it. And some other perks like that. That even needs some more perks. So I think if you're in a concierge, you obviously, spend some decent amount of money in this game. I don't understand why I would have to,
I want to know how much do I got to spend to get my gold card? Because I got the concierge card. I want my gold card.
There's a gold card?
No, they need a gold card.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I mean, because it's like you get this for $1,000 spent, right? And if we go over and look at the channel after all the giveaways, we spent $15,000.
But see, a lot of concierge missed out on that card. That's the funny thing.
Well, yeah, I didn't get mine either.
Yeah, they sold out so quick. They was like, sorry, we didn't know that many people. I'm like, come on. People spent $1,000 on virtual ships. How you should have known they were going to buy something physical to fucking brag about with their fucking e-cock. Like, look. Yeah, I don't understand that.
This is about the closest you would get to a gold card.
I know. So you got the original
Wing Commander.
Yeah, he's got the original because they've put them out twice. They will put them out again. Don't you worry. It'll help.
Those Wing Commander ones are going to be worth a lot of fucking money. I can tell you that.
That's right.
That's not in mint condition. I see fingerprints on it, so.
It is still in its package. Sorry.
Yeah, see, I got mine in my package too. It's like, you take them out. It's like, it's mint, bitch. Don't tell me that. So, no, absolutely. But yeah, I think that. Well, you had to buy the card too. I mean, it wasn't like you just got it for free. They didn't, you spend $1,000, they'll give you a free card. You got to buy the card. You got to pay for the metal, and it's got to be shipped over from China and all that stuff. But no, I really believe that, they should have some more rewards in that regard too, additionally. But how do you guys feel, like, even though we've talked about the zero CCU, and we'll get back into some more of the chips and stuff like that, additionally, other than getting rid of the zero CCU, and this is the one that makes me raise an eyebrow, they're raising the cost of every CCU by $5. Not just the $0 ones. So if you had a $50 CCU, it's actually going to be $55 now. And I'm like,
I didn't read all that part.
Yeah, now I'm like, that's a little bit like, okay, you're just raising everything across the board. That to me is what makes me feel like, okay, maybe it's more like what you were saying, a cash grab type feeling to it. Then I understand putting some monetary value on it so people don't just hoard and hold a bunch of free shit in their accounts. But when you're like, but we're just going to raise them all $5, I'm like, that might be a little more backlash. Personally, I don't care if you're going to set the price, but I'd do it a little bit more incognito. I wouldn't just say, hey, they're all going up $5, but whatever.
That part is definitely some bullshit. If I'm already upgrading my ship, giving you guys some money anyways, gonna get more money because I'm buying a more quote unquote expensive ship. Why is there a $5 fee for that? It's almost like, oh no, you gotta pay a penalty for that, and just wait for the next sale to maybe melt it and get that. I don't know. It's just a lot more confusion. I don't understand that.
Yeah. They said that the increased cost though will go towards your credit on your ship. So should you melt that ship later, you will get that $5 back. So to me, here's my problem.
Because I was just sitting.
Here's my problem with this whole thing. They're making it really fucking complicated. I have no problem with them raising the price of stuff. Fine, do it. But the fact they're like, well, we're just going to raise the CCUs and then we'll raise them all $5 and we'll do this, but don't worry, you'll get your credit back. I'm like, just say the ships are more expensive. Say every 6 months are going up $5, every ship we got. Just do that. I'm cool with that. It seems like there's just too many methods and areas and stuff they're doing it, and it's confusing people. And I think it makes us have this conversation with the viewership and the citizens all the time.
I mean, if you look at the merchantmen, I mean, people seen that thing, and people it's still sold like fucking hotcakes. It went up
Yeah,
what? It was
$50 for $50 for the it went up $50 for people paying cash.
cash.
$100 for people flipping their money around.
And I don't think that's the last time that's going.
No, and I think that's fair.
No.
When it goes in engine, I believe it'll be 400, 450.
Remind me again, what was the cost of a Polaris? What out last year?
If you bought it cash, War Bond, when it first came out, you got it for I think $650 or $625. And if you didn't, if you CCU'd at that point, it was $725.
So
if you use
the
credit.
Bond Merchantman at original concept was $250.
Yeah.
And since has gone up
deal.
not only in scale, but definitely going to be in price because now it's roughly the size of a Polaris.
And it hasn't increased in
And
price.
I can't leave that at $250.
Yeah. And it has not
bad.
increased in price across 4 years until now. So, I mean, it's been at $250 forever. So
Now they're finally at the point where they're not only working on the alien race, they're working on the alien technology,
And I agree.
including the ships. And they're able to say, this is, for a fact, how we're going to build it out. And because of this reason, the armament has changed, the loadout has changed, the engines have changed, the size has changed. By the way, you're going to need a bigger party.
Definitely.
And $250 more.
Yep.
Or who knows what, but it's definitely.
Yeah. But it's going to increase in price. It's because the thing people always have to realize is they have no idea how much money it's going to take to finish this game. There's no way to know. That's like me asking you, how much money do you need to survive for the next 3 years? Well, you don't know. Why happens if you got a car wreck? I mean, you don't know. So should at some point you should just, as a business, just stop making money? Just say, oh, we're good, guys. That sounds like the dumbest business plan I've ever heard of. So I wouldn't do that.
Chris has said before, we have enough funds to make the base game.
Yeah.
And everything that we're making now is like extra. Like going out to buy the fucking Crytek group, that was the extra money that people threw money at ships, digital ships, and it helped provide us get that fucking Crytek team. And if they weren't here, to be honest, I don't think they'd be successful as they are right now, because those dudes work some fucking magic, man. I mean, procedural planets were supposed to be after the game launched, and now here we are, 3.0. We're going to have some of that stuff coming in place and further down the road pretty soon. So, I mean, it's amazing. I'm glad that they have that option where.
I mean, you want to insulate yourself, right? You want the company to last. I mean, I at this point, I'm heavily invested enough. I don't want them to roll the dice and hope they make it with the amount of money they have. And yeah, they could probably make the base game. That's fine. But you know, the other thing you have to realize is most people have loans, assets tied into these things, all that stuff. And banks look at you when you're doing your payroll and everything, and they say, "Oh, well, how much liquid capital do you have in your bank?" If you have $140 million, you're pretty good. You know, you're gonna, if you need to get better interest rates, if you want to get your payroll stuff, you're gravy. You want to do business deals with other companies. You want the opportunity. New tech comes online, you can make that purchase. It gives you more buying power. It gives you more strength in the industry and to do things that you might want to do. But if you're like, hey, yeah, we have no income, and you show those type of records that we're not producing anything, guys. We're just living on this money that we have. That's not a good business metric. And other companies and other people wanting to do deals or put you in different, tech industries and stuff like that, or acquire other people, you want to see growth in a business. People give you opportunity, want to see growth. I guarantee there'd be a different conversation with Amazon when they were making that deal about a year ago if they weren't continuing to grow. That gives them so much more strength to talk to these other companies saying, we're growing still.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get tired of people saying, hey, they don't need no more money. Yeah, fuck it. I don't need any more money. I can just, whatever. I'll just live off, welfare or whatever. But that's not the way I want to be. I want to make money as a business. Everybody does, man. You want to be able to do better for yourself, your kids, your family, give your employees more opportunities. We have no idea. They could have promised their entire staff stock shares or other things in the company. And the more that company grows, the more those devs work harder because they know they have an invested interest in the company. We have no idea. That's all closed door shit. So I would be scared if they were like, hey, guys, we're good. We're not going to take any more money. Because to me, that would mean Well, maybe they're just like thinking they're going to shut down. Maybe there's something pending in the background that's going to happen. Maybe something bad's happening. If you're a healthy, active business, you're making fucking money. That's the whole deal with it. And as long as they're making money and they're building spaceships and showing us good shit and communicating, I am happy with the way they're doing things. So,
yeah, you gotta ask them. I know everyone complains like, oh, more ships.
I mean, I know to us, fuck it. We got to spend more money for spaceships. We don't have to. We have enough, Gio. You and I have enough spaceships to last us. But we're still buy shit.
Yeah, I just, at this point, like, I look now when I see a game, I'm like, wow, that game is fucking such and such $40. And I gotta think about, like, wait a minute, I spent, almost $10,000 on Star Citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't look at it like I spent that much on the game.
Yeah.
I look at it as, I really genuinely want to help and donate to these guys. It's almost like when I see my favorite streamers, I like supporting you guys, what you're doing. I like what CIG is doing, so I want to continue.
And as long as it doesn't hurt you financially and you have the liquid capital to do it, that's fine. The only time that would turn it into a major complaint to me would be if they raised the bar of entry into this game to an unfeasible level. If you take it to where you can't get a starter package for Star Citizen unless you drop $100, $200 to get into it, that's a problem. They're not doing that. They're offering us ships and other assets and stuff to help back the game if you want to, and there's a million avenues where you can fly the ship, try the ship without buying it in the game. There's tons of avenues to do that stuff, and you can earn them all in game. There's no pay-to-win entry fee saying you'll never be able to own a Connie unless you give us cash for it. Wait till the game comes out, you can play and get it.
You guys are saying in chat, $45, you guys get a lifetime, service to the game, no fucking subscription. You know what game just came on Kickstarter? For you to get a lifetime subscription, it costs $500, and that's Ashes of Creation. And I was like, I would have to pay $500 to have a lifetime subscription.
Yeah.
And if you pay under that, you're gonna have to you get like a couple months.
Well, think about Call of Duty now.
You're paying every month.
Call of Duty now, to buy a full bundle pack of all the fucking DLC and all that shit, it costs you about $200 to get one of their elite shit, and that that only lasts a year, and people buy it like whatever. And I'm like,
those companies are getting dick slapped now with those season passes. Like they're starting, like even EA is like, oh, if your friend has it, you all get access to it. So, I mean, I think they're starting because if EA is doing that, that's a sign that people are not buying. Because
we're not
doing that to be nice.
Everybody's not gonna buy the equivalent of another console to play one game on a console or a computer or whatever else. We're just not with titles like PUBG coming out at $30 and it's hot, Conan coming out at $30 and it's hot. When you have game companies doing it right for half the price of what you're even thinking about your base game model, those are the guys that are sticking it to those big guys. And they're all early access, and they're all looking at models like Star Citizen and things like that. And they might not be doing the whole, continue to back for ships to grow the company, but they're established companies like Funcom and stuff, and they're recovering because the original Conan was shit. The Age of Conan thing, I won't even get into. That pissed me off and all that stuff. But the same company came back with Conan Exiles, and it's a beautiful game. It's a fun game. It's interactive with people, and you can have a great time at it, and it costs a fraction of the price of most other games on the market. So, and they're continuing to develop for it. So there's all kinds of opportunities out there for people to get into. But let's get back to Star Citizen.
Well, one last thing, and one more thing. With the gaming industry, Cliff Blazinski, I think his name is, the one who made the Gears of War. He said it's so much money to make a game now. Even though Chris said they have enough money, I think for this scope of game, I think they need all the money they can get because what they have right now is at 48 million.
We'll just say 150. It's going to hit there anyway. We know that. So
yeah. So basically, 150 million is not a lot for what this game is doing. I mean, they're going to definitely need like 250 million.
Again, as a business owner in the position that Chris Roberts in, if he came out and said it's not enough money to make the game, he would get destroyed by the media. He would get destroyed by everybody because everybody would be like, here's a math problem. Watch. If I took $5, I can multiply that times 6 and I can make a great video game for $35. It's like people will come up with their own shit. You just don't say it. You come out, you squish that, but say, no, we got enough to make the game. But they're a fucking business, man. They're a growing business. If they had stock options, I'd buy into them. I mean, for real. So
I mean, look at Amazon. They're well established and they still sell stock. They don't need any fucking
Amazon
help.
ain't
They're
no fools,
dominating.
and Amazon came in and said, "Hey, we'll back that shit." So, I mean, you know, biggest backer in the room right there. So,
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Amazon stocks, I just checked. I think it's like $900 something. I was thinking about buying some stock. I'm like, shit,
Damn.
that is a lot. I'm waiting for it to drop a little more.
you could get
before I
one.
buy it. I can get one little stock.
Give
But
me
here I am
one of
talking
those
about
shares
$9
there.
stock. I got fucking fake stock
Yeah.
in fucking Star Citizen.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how I be sometimes.
All right, so here we're talking about this is some of the derelict ships, and they're going through the whole passes on them and how they're breaking them down, and the different aspects between the derelict ships as far as the Connie goes, and also they were working on, I believe they did, wasn't it the Razor too? I think the Razor is coming up in one of these scenes as well. But they're talking about the effects that we have explorable structures on planets when they're like shipwrecks and all this other cool stuff. Yeah, here it is. So you got all the different break aparts and stuff. They're looking better and better because they're not worried about the ship just blowing apart now, right? Because we're getting close to Reclaimer. What state does the ship look in when it's in a salvageable state or a wreck? So that way it creates environments or materials for us to collect, gather, interface with, all those type of things. So I love how, you know, they're showing us this type of detail on how they're breaking apart and all this stuff, because it kind of gives you an idea what they're thinking gameplay wise, what kind of experience you're going to have going into some of these planets and worlds and stuff, and then finding these derelict ships and busted ships and all that stuff. Maybe steal some components out of them, maybe look for loot or whatever. But it's pretty cool aspects. I'm pretty excited about this.
Here's my thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Crash sites, they're usually spread out a lot. So I'm hoping that what they're showing us right now is just sort of like the test bed where they're pulling the different pieces apart to see, test lighting. Does this work as an individual piece, separate and individual from the rest of it? But I'm really hoping that we come across sites that are a lot larger than this, and we actually have to move from location to location to investigate the different portions of a ship, because you break up coming in through the atmosphere, you were not going to be in one spot.
Well, maybe it didn't break up. Maybe it was landed the whole time, because there's nothing really destroyed it. Maybe it was landed, and just over time it broke down and broke apart with the storms and winds. And
that's true. Like something forgotten in the very, very back row of a museum. Somewhere.
Yeah, it could be that too, because they showed that they had a pretty good idea on how crashes would work, right? In the original video that they showed at the last CitizenCon, they had pieces of the ship leading all the way to the main structure, where he found bits and pieces and different aspects of that. So I would agree with that. I think that would make sense, and they would probably
variation.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty cool. I mean, so far we've seen it done with the Javelin, and it's exciting to hear them confirm that they're now working on the Connie, the Caterpillar, the Freelancer, and the Starfarer specifically for derelicts as mission locations, as random points of interest for those exploring. So it's really cool. It's going to help to fill out the world.
Well, you can tell they're really working on the mission sets coming up, right? Because I mean, this is all got to be related to that.
Well, we got the Starfarer kind of right now in 2.6, so.
Absolutely. And when they introduced the Starfarer wrecks over by Yella and stuff, to me that was amazing. I love that experience, even though it was just, there was no real big story tied to it. You know, you had a little mission that would take you there or whatever. But I found it just on my own, just roaming around Yellow one time, and I didn't even realize the mission was tied to it. But it was just cool because you could just discover this wreck, and it had its own little story inside, right? Just by reading all the comments and stuff. So it wasn't necessarily, it was like a mission where something else could point you at it, but you could jump into the middle of it and still get that experience without having to go through the whole path to get there. I mean, and that's something I like on their mission design, the way it works, because it's choose your own adventure, but I can still jump into that story or jump into part of that story without having to be in the very beginning tie-ins to get pointed in that general direction. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so many scenarios you could get out just looking at there. It looks like that, like the bigger the ship, the longer it take to search. Maybe you're searching it, then some pirates come up on you. Now you got to defend your way out of the ship, try to get whatever treasures in there, or you go in there and there's some alien life living in it. Like so many scenarios that could go on in derelicts.
I mean, I'd even be really interested to see. Thrace was saying, depending on where, when you're hitting the atmosphere, you start to burn up, there might be parts of the ship that just don't even make it through the atmosphere. They completely burn up, and then you don't have structures. But it would be really cool to see portions of the ship that are in the uppermost layers of the atmosphere just sort of drifting in orbit, and bits have burned up, and then you only find a couple pieces down below. And
or bits of like the fins and stuff breaking off and actively falling through atmosphere and creating like little star trails.
Right.
That'd be neat.
It would be awesome.
That would be
awesome
really cool
to come across.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, this is the whole sea, and they're talking about, I mean, they're really cranking on this because we just saw this a few weeks ago.
They're kicking ass on that thing, dude.
They are kicking ass on it.
And I think they're trying to hurry up and push it for 3.0 because that is a trade ship you need to have in 3.0. Like, you want to launch 3.0.
If you want cargo,
here's the fucking trade ship.
If you want cargo, you want your cargo vessels to be at least near ready or completion in there. And the comm and everything in this looks amazing. It feels like a real industrial truck, you know, not like a semi truck like the Freelancer. It's got that different feel, like you're operating some sort of big crane system or large industrial vehicle,
or a fucking train. Like, it's like a space train.
Yeah, exactly. That actually it does. It looks more like one of those trams or something to be in and like carrying stuff made to be. But this looks really cool. I can't wait to explore and get all around up in this, because I never realized like the designs changed so much from the original, where it basically had a smaller cockpit area and then just a tube, and that's all you had. And now it's kind of like they've made the tube a little more robust. They've made like a little more detailed. You see a lot of Starfarer type influence and MISC influence all throughout the ship and stuff, and it looks really good.
Dude, I just can't imagine, like, this thing is huge right now.
And this is a C. Yeah, this is the C. This is not even really. It's like a little bit below the halfway marker in length of the thing.
I think you only need 3 people for this one to operate. I believe it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think you only have to have 1 drive, but I think it had an optimal crew of like something like 3 or something. I think you're right at that.
You're gonna want to. I would not want to fly this by myself.
I don't want to fly anything by myself out there. I think it would be scary.
I mean, and if you think about it, depending on the situation, you would almost need 2 separate crews, one for the front section, one for the aft section, because that aft section is the engineering. And on the C and above, that telescoping pylon, that spine that goes right down the middle of that cargo area is sort of like Jeffrey's tube service access.
Yeah.
So you can get from one end of the ship to the other, even when it's opened up, telescoped out, and all. So it's going to be a lot easier to have people dedicated to positions on the engineering.
Yeah,
section.
then put it on autopilot and run back. I'm like, good luck with that.
Exactly. No, that's you're shit out of luck if that's happening.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, the engines are going out. Well, let me run back real quick. And yeah, whatever.
Like, it's just so I'm so excited for this. Oh my god, man.
Well, the variety of stuff, and not only the variety of ships we're seeing get ready to come out, but the roles and the game mechanics behind them. That's what really excites me, because I'm super hyped about like just having these different gameplay elements so we can go in and
it's long overdue that we start having the opportunity to focus our interest in Star Citizen gameplay anywhere outside of combat.
Yeah,
it's refreshing.
Because I love combat too, but I love trading so much. I'm just so interested in 3.0. Like, what ships we're gonna have? Hopefully the whole sea be done. We're gonna have the Freelancer, the Reliant. What's another trade? I guess we could throw Starfarer in there.
Yeah,
they had the little hull on a couple.
Oh yeah. Hull A.
Well, I don't think they're working on those. They are. I'll be shocked.
They showed the mechanics of it collapsing and expanding. That was amazing.
You would think once they get the base set done, they'd be able to expand.
Well, they said they were going to reuse the assets for all the hulls.
Yeah, because the sea it's not too big, it's not too small. It's like just right, giggity. So,
and I don't know if you guys remember, but originally when they pitched the MISC hull, it was just an individual cargo ship.
Yep.
And when they finally unveiled the name and it was a Hull C, there were so many fan questions coming out. Well, what about an A and a B? And would there be anything above a C? Like, where's the line come from? What is going on here? And so they slapped us with 5 ships in a single line.
I think
Yeah, I bought
the
fucking 3 of them.
the whole series I think was the last line of like, here's our variants of all these the exact same ship with some other aesthetics on it. I think that was once they created those and they showed those to us, they started making truly different vessels all over the place. That's where we started to see a real mix of different types of industrial ships and all these other things start to come into concept in the game. And so the Sea's been a long time coming. They've talked about it being on the back burner, and it's just exciting over the last couple of years to say now it's getting so much closer to actually being here now, to see it something that was like concepted right after I started backing. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. It's like a little kid growing up. It's amazing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about quickly. You guys, or something else.
Are those weed plants?
Probably.
That's another thing. I got probably most excited about when I seen those plants, and just like I just thought about my endeavor and having
Marijuana.
life and marijuana and all that good stuff. Plants, trees.
The pot pirate. That's what it'll be.
Pot pirate.
There you go.
I steal it. Not
Now,
smoke it.
talking about more of the visual interiors, the benchmark stuff of everything planet side, and right here, let me go back a little bit.
Goddamn space dank.
Let me go back a little bit here. This right here, I thought was really cool because they're talking about the basically the volumetric forms in space. This is like, they showed an enclosed environment, the gas, but they're talking about how they're manipulating particles in space, and this is how we're going to get into nebulas and gas giants and all these other aspects of like how it's going to form. And they're doing this great looking organic approach to it, to where it's almost like, oh, let's just create a solar system. Boosh. And it's like, it's amazing looking. And I'm really excited to see more of this stuff in there.
Well, that video right there of that particular one, do you see what program they're using to do that in?
Yeah, it should be After Effects in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because After Effects natively supports 3D modeling. And if you add 3D modeling, you can experiment with the forms and stuff there. So I'm sure they just dropped it. Wouldn't it be funny if we looked on that and it said like Envato? Like they bought a template.
Oh my God, don't even start.
And they're like, oh, we got some pretty blue lights. Let's fit in this Envato template and see what happens.
After that music I showed you today, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was great. We were watching, Toy showed me, he found a airplane commercial or something for like one of the travel things. We won't we'll go into like who it was. But either way, we're sitting there and he's like, just listen to it. And I'm listening to it, doing the ditty. And also I noticed the music. And it's the ATV theme song they're playing on the commercial. So I'm like, so they just bought a clip of some song and this airplane commercials playing the ATV intro music. Like, I kept looking, that's thinking cool. YouTube was on the background. Like I was watching ATV again. It's like, no, it was on the commercial. They're just using it there. I was like, oh. Well,
they did that a while back with one of their ATVs. Remember how they had the planet thing?
Yeah.
With the Star Trek around the planets thing.
Oh yeah.
And then we found that on Envato.
Oh yeah, that's an After Effects template. I knew about that a long time ago because they had that. Yep. What's his name? The guy who makes all those templates and stuff with Video Copilot.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the guy who actually did that for Star Trek. Yeah. And he has a whole demo on how to make that, and people resell that thing. They make their own version, and they resell it, and it looks like they bought the template one of like all the planets zooming in because they did that on Star Citizen at one time. It's like, yeah. I don't expect Disco to go down and program like all these planets zooming in. I'm sure he just bought the template, customized what he wanted, and there you go. They're people too. They're not magicians. Yeah. So let's go on to the next one. And this is going to be, we got 2 more slides I want to show here.
Them slides,
baby. The motion graphics. Woo, doggies.
Graphics.
Yes.
Fidelity.
Absolutely. Let's make sure this one's right. This is one of Nighthawk's favorites here. He was talking about. We'll get it up on the screen.
Deny it till I... Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Yep. Truck stops. So they're talking about the truck stocks, not only the lighting and how the format of them out there, but they're talking about they've built these set pieces to be modular and they can actually mix them up, make them, design them however they want to.
Yep.
And
so even from location to location,
yeah,
exterior and interior is going to look different.
absolutely. So I mean, that's really cool. So they're in the final art phase of the truck stops, which, as I was joking with Nighthawk before, means inherently nothing time wise, because we don't, final
Right.
art. It's like, Star Citizen, Squadron 42, final art.
Jesus.
No such thing, really.
Yeah.
And they just add
1.0.
animations.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a true stage of development, but the length of that development is arbitrary. There's no way. It just depends on the project and what they're doing and all that stuff. It doesn't define anything. It makes us feel like they're really far ahead, but it doesn't necessarily mean that anything's ready for implementation.
Especially the word soon. Soon has a whole new definition with Star Citizen.
Yeah, well,
soon to
it's
be
true.
now to 2020. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
wow, that's some kind of soon.
But it's
Well, I mean,
it's less the fact that we're finally at a point where it's in the game. That's not what excites me. What excites me is the fact that we're looking at the next generation of space-bound locations. Like right now, we're so used to the shipping hub that is Covalix. We're so used to the security post that is Korea, and we're so used to the orbital station that is
burned
Olisar.
into our retinas, like those images, because that's where we've been
Right.
thousands of times.
And like it makes a lot of sense that you're going to come across things like orbital stations that are just sort of mass produced and they look the same. It's easy to do that. You're going to think that coming across comm arrays, it's easy to do that. They all look the same. Granted, all of these are going to be changing because of this new modular system. So even things like comm arrays and the small space stations are going to change their look significantly. But it's exciting because now it doesn't matter where you go. You could be in orbit of a planet. You could be in the dead of space, and you could come across one of these locations. And it doesn't matter if you were just at the truck stop outside of Microtech, but now that you're within the vicinity of Hurston and you're at this truck stop, it's completely different. The only similarity is this spinal section that we're looking at now. Everything inside looks different. Everything inside is different.
This I
So
put
it's
my
always to do with-
kids to sleep at night too, with mock-up knife takedowns. They're not real knife takedowns. We just pretend. No, but this kind of freaked me out because it's like you see character movement that you don't see anywhere else, and I was just like, knife takedown. I was like, at what point am I going to sneak up on a guy in Star Marine and do that? I can see it PU wise.
I can hear those clunky fuckers running behind me too. So
Ting 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 ting.
that ting ting ting, I'm gonna just turn around like whoop.
Yep, shotgun one time. in
It'll
the
be really
face.
interesting to see how they end up playing that out.
Yeah.
It gets me excited for Melee though.
I bet
because
Disco's excited.
I've been missing Melee for
Oh,
down
my God.
on what was it? Our Corp. I just want to go down and have a bar fight. I want the Melee in
Right,
there
those
so
back
bad.
alleys.
Yeah, because eventually it's going to be part of gameplay because
Yeah.
you can't. In some towns, they're going to strip you. They're going to search you. Make sure you have no guns. So the only thing you're going to have is Melee. Maybe you find a knife or something.
Well, Disco's going to hide in the bathrooms of your
Pipe on the
ship.
side of the street.
Disco hide in the
Yeah,
bathroom of your
flat
ship
bottle.
and come out and then be like doing the whole knife takedown on you. He's like, I was in the toilet the whole time.
Like, world star.
Yep.
Although, I will say it's pretty cool to finally see Steve Bender killing Sean Tracy in game.
Yep. There you go.
They need to, and I hope they do add that kind of melee animation, because going up and shooting somebody in a cockpit seat is one thing, but going up and stabbing somebody
Yep.
sitting in a seat, I hope they do a good animation.
And
for
then
that.
dragging.
Wouldn't it
their
be crazy
Vintar
if you're
up.
sitting there and from your perspective, if you get stabbed, you look down and there's like a knife in your chest right here, like, you're like, holy.
That's exactly
Slowly
what
being
you
pulled
should
out.
see.
Yeah, it's like,
And you should see the air hissing around it if you're wearing your spacesuit
Yeah.
too, right?
It's like-
And little droplets of blood.
yeah. And then maybe he just kicks you off if you're EVA and you get knifed. He just kicks you off, you float away, and you're like, shh, just floating away. It'd be crazy. But no, I was like, I thought that looked really good. I miss knife. I miss any type of knife or melee or all. I miss the melee that they've taken it out of Star Marine right now. So for the first 2 weeks, I'd come up and try to rifle butt somebody to finish them, and you don't even get the animation,
so
like
OP,
nothing.
though.
Yeah, but it didn't
Wasn't
work
for
half
me.
the time before.
I used to.
No
beat
one was even
shit out of
firing.
people.
Yeah.
No, they were just running around meleeing everybody when that Star Marine first released.
Yeah, but
That's why
we
they
had to
took
figure
it
out how to
out.
do it because we couldn't get it to work right, and then we got really good at it.
I would butt people like, they
That's
not
it.
budge. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the basis there. I know there was some more, but we didn't get captured all. I think it was the nebulas I wanted to show, but I didn't get it clipped that in time because that
Frying pan.
frying
That's
pan.
what we need.
We
Frying
do. We
pan.
need a
That's what
frying pan
Siege
in there.
Wheels
It'd be
is.
Gotta
awesome.
have frying pans.
Just come up, guy pulls out a knife, we pull out a frying pan. Dong.
Hell yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if it'd have to be, because it's the future. It couldn't be a cast iron one though. It'd have to be one of those like mirrored bottom ones, so that way if you shoot lasers at it, they'd reflect and bounce off at other people and kill people. So it's pew pew pew, boom boom boom, butt pan still in effect. It'd work perfect. It'd work perfect.
I made my frying pan from the hull of a Xi'an Scout.
That's right.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I'll take
Same
one
red
from.
and everything.
I'll take one from the Tavaran.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Since they're masters with shields and shit.
It's got a micro shield generator, Tavaran shield generator in the handle.
Yeah.
You just push the button,
Boom.
turn on the shield, and double the impact power.
And for those of you playing along at home, all the videos that we just showed, all the little bits, was only from the first 12 minutes of ATV. So for the last 2 hours, we've been talking about the 12 minutes of the show. It's so much content, and even the universal interaction
It's
is
only
amazing.
like 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Was there any topics, Nighthawk, you had that you wanted to cover that we didn't get to on that? So I'll let you pick some.
Let me see.
And I'll start to set up. We're going to pull the first raffle, and then after we're done with Nighthawk's elements, if any of the other co-hosts want to jump in on something, that's fine. We're going to start the second giveaway after we pull the first one, and we're going to be answering your questions. So make sure you get exclamation mark questions in chat. If you have questions, be loading up that doc, and we'll be sure to get to those. So Nighthawk, what do you got?
So it's actually Mocker kind of brought it up, but it's a really good point. In today's ATV, or rather this week's ATV, it was the first time that we ever heard them refer to the 600 specifically as the 600i.
Yes, that's true.
Which I think is really interesting because
I didn't even catch on to that.
the 300 series started out with just the 300i, and then it became a series. So it would be really nice to see them come back with another series of ships in the 600 range, because that would that would work well to compete against the Freelancer regulation, which supposedly it's in the size range of. But then if you look at the sneak peek image that they dropped in today's newsletter, I don't know how that's going to work.
No,
No,
this week's
today's
newsletter,
tarp. It was the
that
tarp.
was Aegis. That wasn't a 600 series.
Oh, was it Aegis? I gotta go back and look at that again. Hold on.
Yeah,
Wait
it said Aegis at the bottom, and I was like, another Aegis ship. I'm an Aegis. That's my favorite ship maker.
Give me a link,
But
because I haven't even looked at it yet. Link it in Discord for me.
I am
I'll pull it up.
done with. I'm tired of Aegis ships. Like, I would love to see a cool MISC fighter ship, and not the Reliant. I want to see a.
Oh shit, you're right. Right there on the hangar floor.
Yeah. And that was in
Wait
the
a minute.
sneak. That was
Okay,
in
so
that
hold on.
sneak. That sneak peek picture. You know, did you see the barbed wire gate that said Area 21? If you look at it, it has these wings up in the background. You can see the black figure of it in that Area 21.
I was gonna say this looks like the flight deck of an Idris, but that doesn't matter. If you look at the shape of the tarp, this is very definitely an Aegis ship. It's got the same curvature on the front that you would see on the Gladius, going laterally. Vertically along the dorsal end, you've got what looks sort of like the shape of a saber cockpit. And if you zoom in and you look really closely at the point on the end of the nose, that's the standard Tiger Streak triple barrel Gatling that we see on most Aegis ships standard.
Yeah, they're saying it's the Eclipse.
Quite possibly. And that would make a lot of sense because it ties in well to that image that was put out before.
Hurricane. The Hurricane's already out, guys. Where you guys been? That was on sale like 3 weeks ago.
Well, it's not out, but
that-
I mean, it's
Well, it came out already, and now it's done.
yeah, it's out.
Now, even so, going back to the 600, I think it would be really interesting to see them come up with an entire series based around another origin line, because with the exception of the 890, the only thing we're familiar with is the 300. And that would give them an opportunity to bring in, at least 3 to 5 more ships, just variation on a hull, and boom, you got something in the same scale, same class, same loadout style as a freelancer.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the 300 series. I'm anxious to see what the 600 looks like. But if they're gonna rehash and say, okay, here's the 300 series, we did a little bit of deviation on them, and they're gonna make a 600, then just do a whole bunch of them just like they did the 300 series. Not a big fan of that. I don't want to see a whole line of the same ships. I'm kind of like with the Auroras. It's great they made them. They're fine. They're in the verse. They're redoing them, all this stuff. I just don't believe in carbon copying ships saying this is the Explorer model. This is this model. We have so many different ships now that facilitate these individual roles. Do we really need to go the 5 variant route on everything again?
Well, to be fair, those were made before they added the modularity.
And that's fine, but that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see that trend stop and make like individual unique ships because they have the assets and the ability to do it. I just don't want to see. I don't want to see Saber Comets coming out. I don't want to see more of that shit.
Especially with the skins and shit. It doesn't make any sense now.
Here's my thing. Not all ships are meant to be modular, and not all ships I think should be modular.
I agree.
So it stands to reason that if you don't have modularity available for a particular quote-unquote line of ship, then if you're trying to offer a line to a wider demographic, you're going to have variations on it. And it could be something as simple as the additions, like what was it, the Gladius Valiant versus the Gladius. It's not really a variant, it's just a different loadout, a different paint job, and they slapped someone's name on it. So it's like the Eddie Bauer edition,
I don't know. I mean, there's really not a wrong answer to it. I'm just saying my personal preference. Like, okay, take the Prospector, for example. It's a standalone ship. It's a mining ship. That's what it's supposed to do. It looks unique. It doesn't have a Prospector A, B, and C, and D that do different things.
Right.
And I wouldn't support them doing that. I like the uniqueness of the one ship. If you see it in space, guess what? I know what the fuck it does. That's what it is. You know, and I like some of those ships. Now, other ones, sure. Okay, we already have a huge established base of everything from Avengers and Cutlasses and Auroras and all these other base ships that we've had for years. Now that they have the tools, the artists, and all the stuff and assets, keep making like different looking ships, and some of these ships that just stand alone as that's its role, because I think we have a lot less of those for ships that are under $300 than we do of anything else. It seems like every ship that they come out with that's like under $200 or so is like, oh, we'll make 10 different types of these. And every ship that's over $300, they're like, this is the one of that ship. I'd like to see a few more of this is the one of that ship at the $50 and $100 thing. So people, you know, if I don't spend $300 to get a unique looking ship, you know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. We have the Dragonfly and the Prospector now. I'd like to see a few additions to some of that. And I think it'd be nice just to kind of flesh out the universe a little more. So,
I will say this, the 300 series, the early concept looks so much better than the one we have now. Like, that thing is so sexy. Someone tweeted it out the other day.
Yeah.
Like, man, that thing is fucking
and
nice.
Even the Aurora looks like it's going to be a significant improvement, even though most people will be in the Aurora, and if they're a hardcore gamer, be out of the Aurora pretty quickly. It looks better. You know, a lot of people aren't going to stay in their initial role-based ship. They're going to grind, get some missions behind their belt, and they're going to move on. But I do like the fact they try to maintain a certain level of, you know, fidelity, so that way they can, keep the universe looking similar. That way you don't go into, like, feel like you walked from, like, Zanzibar into, like, all of a sudden I walk through a room and I'm in Minecraft again. It's like, what happened to all these blocky pixel things? Because even though the original Auroras look good, and some of these, when you put it side by side with something like the new Cutlass or the Prospector stuff, you see the difference. You see how old the old stuff looks, even though it's just a few months, years old by comparison to development in the game. You can see it very much so when these ships are side by side. Like the Cutlass looks like, the old Cutlass looks like Donkey Donuts next to like some of the newer nice fighter ships, because it's not as graphically pleasing to the eye. So
yeah. And you know, another thing is I've seen people I've seen them talking about they're tired of all these fighting ships. The first half of this year, I believe Ben said, I don't know if it was on Ben's Day or some other interview, it's going to be more fighter ships, and then like the second half of the year it's going to be more like mining ships, or
which makes sense, because
smaller mining ships, smaller salvage ships, because people have been asking for that. So that's coming towards the second half if that's what you're waiting for.
Well, they're also running out of fighters too. There's not a lot more fighters they can do. They're actually going through sometimes second, third passes on some of the fighters.
This Aegis didn't make any sense. I want to see the F8. Give us that damn F8. You're not putting in Squadron 42. That could have been one.
Yeah.
Misk, like I said, a Misk fighter would have been cool. It's like Aegis. It's just like, fuck, dude. It's like 5 fucking ships.
Well, I think we're going to see not only more ships that are non-combat role, but I think it speaks to the fact that there's no game mechanics in, so we could always have a lot more ships that you could do nothing with, right? Because it's like some of these things, like it's great we get the Prospector or some of these other things, but it makes more sense now that they're coming out closer to us getting game mechanics that we can use them in.
That's why they're waiting the second half of the year.
Exactly.
June, boom, here comes 3.0. Now we're going to sell y'all the cool shit that you can do in 3.0.
Exactly, because, I mean, before it's like they were nowhere near ready to make game mechanics or mining or any of that stuff, and it's great they released the Starfare early, and it had those nice big guns on the Gemini and all that shit, but it's a gas truck. And you can't farm gas. And I think just to having more stuff like that where it's like, oh, it's a cargo vehicle and you can't do anything with that. I mean, we have the Caterpillar. They've been releasing these bigger ships slowly with all that stuff. I think now's the time to flesh out and focus on the industrial ships as we get more industrial gameplay on. And it makes sense to.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. All right, guys.
I just want to see another fighter from someone else. Please, no more Aegis.
I don't want to
see any more fighters.
I want to see a consolidated Outland new ship that's not a Mustang.
Yeah, them and who are the ones who made the airliner? The Genesis?
Genesis, that's from Crusader.
Yeah.
They only made fucking one. I mean, there's so many other ship manufacturers you could go to. Like Aegis is a beat dead horse now. Okay.
Well, I want to see some more ground vehicles, stuff like that too. Maybe in industrial capacity. Yeah, ground vehicles. Even if they were combat rolled, like some capacity, that's fine. I don't care. But some sort of ground vehicles. I want to see ground weaponry. I want to see emplacements, like an actual like anti-ship gun. Stuff like that.
Just turn a reclaimer to that big mech. You already got the legs.
There you go. It becomes like the world's big.
You got salvage shit that can salvage on the ground, and it can run across like an AT-AT.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things but I think we really need the mechanics in there in order to really enjoy a lot of this stuff. And it's something we've been waiting on. Now we're starting to get them, hopefully, and we'll be able to use some of these ships. I mean, you gotta consider they still have to go back and make the entire Starfarer's systems work. Think about that. Think about how big that ship is, and all of it's just placeholder right now, and none of it actually functions. That's a lot of shit to do. I mean, that's huge undertaking.
I mean, that's another alarming thing because I know that ship is in Squadron 42, so that shit should be functional. Well, I guess if NPCs are using it, doesn't have to be functional, but I don't know. Well, I guess you don't have to fly it in the mission or nothing.
We're also thinking about internal builds that no one has access to. So we
have no idea.
Squadron 42 could be on a totally different level.
Well, and some things in a single player game, like what Gio was alluding to, they don't have to function. I mean, it's just a background object in the story. Your shit's getting fueled up. It doesn't mean there has to be fuel running through it. Yeah, once we go to Star Citizen Universe, different story. But we're not there yet. So, all right. So we're gonna pull this first raffle, guys. Make sure you're in it. ! SpaceBros in chat, and always remember, thank you for your love and support for the channel. We appreciate all our subscribers and all those other guys out there who tune in each Friday night at 10 p.m. CST to watch us. So make sure you're also following these very, very intelligible, super awesome guests we have here. You have to make sure that you're following both Nighthawk and GioGetMoney, because at some point in the night I'll start rambling and babbling and you won't be able to tell anything I'm saying at all. And then, of course, Toy over here, who's, we decided to combo up the stream and we made it a live food stream as well as a talk show, so that way we could do both.
Dark chocolate almonds.
Yeah. That actually sounds pretty good.
You didn't run out. You must have had like 2 or 3 bags, like by standby or something.
Yeah. He's just sitting there pouring it in his mouth like, ah! There we go. But thank you guys. I appreciate you all being here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close this one down. Get this thing going like that.
Never get to eat because I'm always modding.
Always modding, babe. Every day I'm modding. Yeah.
He's busy modding all the time.
Hardest working mod in show business.
Stop slaving him, man.
I know. Let's go here. All right, so we're going to do this thing. What we're going to do is we are just going to throw it out there, I think. Let me, should we go to the raffle window? Maybe we should go to the raffle window. Waffles. For the waffles. That's what everybody always says. They call it the waffle window. Well, gotta love those waffles. All right, we're going to put a claim word up here for you guys. And the way it's going to work is you have to use the claim word if you are a follower in chat if your name is pulled. Do not say the claim word if your name is not drawn, else you will get muted and banned from the channel. So please don't do that. We want everybody to be able to participate. We don't mess around with it, though. And if you troll and try to do something similar to the claim word or something else, you'll probably get banned anyway again. So.
Yeah, I got dick slapped for doing that.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And I don't know how to unban people, so I wouldn't fuck with me because I'm not that smart. Because you'll just be fucked for life in the channel. That's just the way it'll happen. It's like, I don't know. So
or remod me.
There you go. Did you get banned or something?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what you did.
I didn't do nothing. I really didn't.
I don't know. I can't unmod myself. So.
I don't know. I didn't do it.
The mod.
I don't know. I think maybe your meter ran out or something. You were sitting idle too long. All right. So this is going to be a claim phrase that's going to pop up here, guys. And you're going to have to say this in order to, if you are the winner. Do not say it again in chat unless you are the winner. If you're a sub, you're good to go. You don't have to say shit. Any of our raffles, all you have to do is actually just be here to enter. You do not have to be here to win. So if you have to go to bed, do any of that stuff. If you have to go see your girlfriend, you have to go see your wife, you have to go see your wife's girlfriend, that's fine. It doesn't matter. As long as you're here to enter, you're good to go. That's the most important thing.
Admit your green screen is showing, Giggity.
I know. Quit looking up the skirt, bro.
Version broken.
Easy. All right, so there's our claim phrase for tonight, guys. Burn in your memory. Do not say it in chat unless you are the person pulled and you're a follower. Remember, Twitch does not sponsor or endorse any of our giveaways. No to CIG. It is all sponsored by me, myself, and I, Mitachi LLC, or some of our awesome space bros from the community that really help out. We really do appreciate it, guys. All right. Go ahead and put that up and pull that down. Without further ado, we're going to pull the first winner of the night for an Avenger Stalker in 3, 2, 1. Holy shit, look at that. Thrace Fulton. Thrace just won.
Congrats, Thrace.
Rigged.
Wow.
Totally rigged.
So double check, make sure he's following your channels, even though you guys don't know how to. I'm sure Thrace is. But
You saw, I just tried to time him out like 2 seconds before he won. So.
Oh.
Totally fucking rigged.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like a little timeout win. So, but he's a sub, so he's covered. He's all good. And we will be sure to notify Mr. Zombies to get that over to him. So awesome sauce. Thank you, Zombies, for that sponsor again. So.
Shit.
All right. And then, Gio, you wanted to do a poll.
Yeah, it's up to you. A poll for I don't know if you want to pick it or not. For 85X or a Dragonfly.
All right, let's get you guys back on the screen. I'll start that.
I love the 85Xs.
It's pretty
Those
sexy.
are like the best ships.
They're pretty sexy. But then 3.0 is around the corner. Maybe someone ain't got a Dragonfly, so you know.
Yeah, I was going to say 3.0 around the corner. Why not take a Dragonfly?
If you ain't got one,
That's a great way to cruise around the planet.
That's
All
true.
right.
Sandy was just showing that off the other day on her Twitter.
You showing her
Looking
what?
forward to that.
That's right, Kamikaze. I am going to dance on the pole.
They were testing dragonflies on the planets,
Okay.
on the moons.
All right, let's go ahead and we're going to put
And
this
someone
up
was
there.
moonwalking on one of the planets, too. He was doing the emotes. I was waiting for him to fall. Like, please fall.
So, guys, there you go. It's one or the other. Vote 1 for an 85X. Vote 2 for a Dragonfly. And we'll see who wins. And then we'll do that. So we'll start into questions while they're doing that voting. And then we'll pull that, do that raffle ninja style here at the end of the show.
I think it's going to be a tight race. It looks like.
It's going back and forth.
Tug of war, baby.
Yeah, I don't have the graphic up on here. I guess I could put the graphic up so they could fight while we're talking about it. That'd be kind of cool.
Someone's breaking up.
Here we go. Right over to Geo. He didn't need that camera anyway.
Well, that wasn't me, was it?
There we go. Try not to. Don't eat the pie. No. It's okay. There we go. All right, guys. So we have it right over there. So you can see live the votes. Right now, it looks like the 85X is pummeling the Dragonfly. Will the Dragonfly come back? We don't
Seriously?
know. We'll see what happens.
Man.
We'll see what happens.
Dragonfly's getting fisted.
All right, so first question for everybody tonight from the room, and if you guys want to add a few questions, feel free. Exclamation mark questions in chat to throw questions in there. Space Zombies ask, what was your favorite moment in the last ATV? If you had to pick one, and only one, what was it? Toy Grubbin, what was your favorite
I
moment
love
for
the
ATV?
volumetric stuff. I can't wait to see nebulas and stuff like that in space. So,
That'd be cool.
and the lightning for the planets. I mean, all tied into the volumetric type stuff.
Cool.
So
All
that's
right.
my favorite.
Mr. Nighthawk Zale, how about you? What was your favorite?
I'm trying to think about it. I'm having a really hard time trying to pinpoint one specific moment during ATV where it stands out more than anything else. I think the thing that stands out to me most is how much work is pushing forward concerning new locations for us, not only to discover but to explore, and also to just transition through. Truck stop. It's going to be a really dynamic world, and that overall, the fact that that's coming along, that's what excites me.
Cool. Geo?
Oh man, this is a real tough one.
It is hard to pick one, isn't it? A lot of good stuff in this episode.
It's a real tough one, but it's between the plants I've seen, because I love space plants,
Mm-hmm.
the reclaimer, and then the cargo stuff. I'll probably have to say the cargo stuff, showing how it was in the computer system and how you move it and how much gets carried. I think probably the cargo stuff, because I'm a heavy trader. So
Okay. All right. And for me, it's hard. I hate to pick a spaceship. I really do, because it's like we always say they do too much on spaceships and stuff, but I'm going to have to say the reclaimer was probably my favorite part, to see it actually, like, even in animation functioning and all that stuff, because I expected to see, oh, this is what it looks poly and maybe like the interior. I did not expect to see like the claw actually animation wise functioning and the interior gears moving and all that stuff. I thought it was I was pretty impressed with that. So I'd have to say, if I had to pick one thing, that was one of the coolest things. I didn't expect to be that far forward. So
That's why I just got
Yeah, for like 10 minutes too.
wow. Oh,
you
man.
trolled there now.
How are you gonna mod if you're timed out, bro?
all the
I
racks.
can't mod anyways.
Oh
I don't
my
afford.
God.
My commands don't work.
What's he gonna do? He can't mod.
That's all right.
All right, Agent 1213 says, what do you guys think the price range of the 600i is?
It says it's gonna be the size of a freelancer. Oh, that's the estimate right now.
I'd say it'd have to be freelancer or smaller, though, right?
I'd probably put it around the $200, because you're gonna be paying for that luxury. Because if a Constellation is $150, I mean this thing's probably gonna be like $200, because of the luxury price you're gonna be paying for an Origin ship.
The Car 2 is like, what, fucking $245 or something crazy? I mean, so there's, who knows? I mean, it's...
I'd put this thing, okay, in real life, like a Mercedes-Benz, what are those called? The Sprinters. It's like real fancy transport. It's kind of like a van, not too big, but it's like transport's real nice inside. I think that's how this is going to be.
I'm gonna guess somewhere in the 400 range.
Oh, wow.
Just because I'm. It's an Origin ship, so I'm expecting it to be on the expensive side, and I'm also really hoping that it's much cheaper than that. So I'll be pleasantly surprised if I just keep saying it's $400.
Freelancer size shipped? Oh, man.
Yeah.
You never know. I
Toy,
mean,
what do you think, bud?
Is this for the 600?
600i,
Yeah.
the luxury.
Yeah, they said
super.
it's going to be mid-sized ships, so I don't Yeah, I don't know. I would probably say around the 250 range.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm 200, 250. If they go
$1,
above that,
Bob.
man,
I think
I'll buy that
Togar
for
has
$1.
the right answer. Togar says between 71 and 889.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be 325. 325. That's what I'm thinking.
325.
Yep.
325.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be over $200 for sure. I'm thinking it's going to be closer to 325. It's going to be stupid.
That means they would have to up the price on the 300 rework. Because
I think-
if that's where you're going
I
with
mean,
your
they're
ship
not, but
prices-
they're not the luxury models. They're good, but they're not the high-end models, right? Like the 600s are bigger and better. I think they will up the price of the 300s.
You would have to then they would have to bump that up to at least 100.
I think the 300s will go up. I haven't.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the 300, what it is and what it's supposed to offer,
And if
really,
they make it look that sexy, yeah.
the way they built it out right now, it's too small, one thing, and it doesn't accommodate many of the features that they were originally offering. So it is going to change. It is going to get bigger. It is going to be more functional, more accommodating, and it's just snazzy.
I don't know why I get so annoyed going to 300 and I see him crouch. Like, I don't know why. It's like my fucking like, because I know how uncomfortable I would be. So when I'm looking at it on the screen, I'm like, fuck, this looks uncomfortable. I don't know why. I never felt like that about that in the game before.
I kind of felt that way the first time I stepped into an Aurora's cockpit when there was nothing but the hangar module, and you're basically clipping halfway out of the canopy of the cockpit and halfway through the chair just to squeeze between the two to get into the seat.
Yeah, when I went in that, I was like, this is uncomfortable as fuck. I was like, because I know I wouldn't get no vehicle like this.
Yeah.
So you're right. That
Death
was
trap. Total death trap. All right. So the winner of that was the 85X. So we're going to go ahead and start another raffle right now.
So you're getting wrecked.
Another raffle right now for the 85X. Guys, type ! Space Bros in chat again to enter for this ship while we complete our question list.
You know, I don't blame them. I blame Mitt. Mitt's the
Blame
one who's
Mitt.
going to pay. We're going to go to Europe. I'm going to get his ass arrested in Europe is what's going to happen. We're going to go to CitizenCon. He's going to end up in a foreign jail.
I think Toy's going to be, unfortunately, surprised how easy it is I get myself arrested when I'm away from my wife and family.
I
I
wonder
don't think so. It's
if he
like
does get arrested, could he pay bail in starships?
in Germany, that might be worth a lot more currency than you realize.
That's what I'm asking.
They said some of the big ballers are in
Two
Germany.
things I know about Germans is they love David Hasselhoff and they love Star Citizen. So if we could get David Hasselhoff in Star Citizen,
Jesus.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
it might exceed sales than what, the U.S.
We just
has.
need to have a ship named Kit.
Oh, my God. And have a little thing like shoo, shoo, on the front. That'd be awesome.
We need a ship that makes that sound
know
like
Little Cylon light.
Yeah.
Kit would make
Yeah.
for a great attack profile.
Yeah.
That'd be
So
nice.
All right. Space
Those
Zombies
sabers would be
again.
perfect for that. Those sabers got that nice front, that the little light going back and forth would be perfect for.
Fuck yeah.
Here we go. What's your
That would be
favorite
beautiful.
That would be
captain?
awesome.
What's your favorite captain from Star Trek?
I'm probably gonna get shot down. People are not gonna like this answer.
Han Solo.
Fucking got it. He got it.
Who? Han Solo?
Han Solo.
Fucking Han Solo, because I'm a Star Wars for life guy.
Oh, I still have a favorite captain. Who's your favorite Star Trek captain, Night Hawk? If you had to pick
Kind
one.
of hard for me to pick just one.
Original Kirk. All the way. That's mine.
It's a very close call between Picard and Kirk for me, but I think of the two, I would probably lean towards Kirk.
Well,
Although, Solo's a badass. He was a badass captain. Remember, Solo was a captain there for a bit. So
my favorite Star Trek captain, and I'm a huge Star Wars guy too,
Good.
but my favorite one will always be Jean-Luc Picard. Will always be my favorite captain. That's the one I grew up with. That's the guy that I watched, and he is always the one that knew exactly what to do. And
And he's so damn smart,
He
too.
he had to go pee a lot, though. He was always talking about number one. I don't know what it was, but it was something.
The only Star Trek I ever watched was the movies. I never watched the shows, none of that.
Oh, I watched Next Generation.
I'm going to do something.
He's all crying because he got captured by the Borg, you know, and his nephew died and stuff like that.
I don't know.
He's always crying.
I'm gonna get my ship now. The one that we're gonna eat up with our reclaimer. The reclaimer's gonna like.
It's gonna look exactly like Geo's mouth.
That's
Like,
exactly
sure not.
how
That's where the
reclaimer's
claw
gonna be.
looks.
Tiny.
Perfect.
There you go. We should just get a gift. Just like.
All right. So.
Thrace, sorry, 1 second.
What?
Thrace is throwing down. He's talking about how he got to meet Carrie Fisher's brother once, and he's married to Catherine Hickland from Knight Rider. So he actually got to sit in one of the screen-used kit cars once.
I gotta sit.
That's pretty cool.
I gotta sit in one of the
Kelly.
kit cars. I have a Polaroid from when I was 7. I gotta sit in one of the kit cars at a car show.
Yeah, they
Okay,
had it
I got
at
one.
Universal Studios for a while. I got to sit in one when I was a kid.
I saw the original 1960s Batmobile.
Oh,
I didn't get to sit in it because we were on the freeway in downtown LA and Adam West was driving it.
oh wow,
Oh, dude.
That's pretty cool.
that is
That
pretty
is
cool.
Go.
Badass. I took a picture of it too.
That's awesome.
Once I went to a car show and I got to sit in the Back to the Future.
There you go.
That's the highlight for me.
Yeah. Oh, the DeLorean. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
I was watching that West Coast custom show. I forgot the name of it. But they were making a 2020 custom version of what they think a DeLorean would look like. And I'm like, oh, so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Craziness.
Love those cars.
We need a DeLorean Star Citizen with LTI. I demand it.
Oh, we have it. It's called the Freelancer.
All right. Space Zombie says once rocket launchers release and someone shoots a rocket at me in first person, will I be able to shoot it down?
I think.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. The missiles would be pretty quick. I don't know. That'd be hard. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a really good question because it's a much larger round and it moves at a much slower velocity than standard rounds. So
Planes can't
I would
do it
think
nowadays.
I would think that, being the future, they might allow for something like that. But you're talking about tracking a rather small item.
Well,
at
you
a
can
higher
shoot down
velocity.
torpedoes right now with gunfire in the game.
Yes, but you're talking about dumbfire weapon in the dead of space going much slower than you possibly can go.
I thought you were talking about air. I thought you were talking about air to ground.
He's talking about shooting a
launcher.
rocket launcher at a rocket or a missile coming at you and destroying it with the missile that you have.
Oh, not actually shooting down the rocket. I thought he was talking about shooting the rocket.
I think he's talking about shooting. Says, okay, once a rocket launcher releases and someone shoots a rocket at me in first person, will I be able to shoot it down? So he wants to know, like, when the rocket launchers come out. I would say with a gun you could, because he didn't say you're shooting it down with another rocket. You could shoot down with small arms fire, but you'd have to be lucky or really fucking good.
Yeah,
with that same.
Potentially, yes, because the projectiles in the game are physicalized.
Well, and with that same question, will an EMP affect them once they're fired?
Not a rocket.
I don't think so.
Why
because
not? Because they're
rocket,
homing.
Well, they're not electronic.
necessarily.
They're propulsion.
Not
built.
necessarily. The basic propulsion system is standard mechanic, and it's not necessarily affected by EMP. Once you light the propellant, that's it. It's gone. It's going.
Yeah, but it's
and if it's not a guided system, then it's just going to keep flying.
Yeah, maybe if it's a guided
possibly
Russell.
if it's an onboard like a microprocessor or something to try and help count down the time or the rotations before it activates, then maybe yes, an EMP could take out that microprocessor, and if it's not counting rotations anymore, then it's not going to activate, and you've got just a dud. So that's possible.
Well, dumbfire missiles. If you play any games, not even with just like helicopters and
But
games,
a
like an arm,
heat
I
track
try to
missile
shoot them
should
down
work
with a
still.
dumbfire, and it's so fucking hard to hit a helicopter or a jet.
Yeah.
So dumbfire is going to probably be. People are probably not even going to waste their time in the first place.
I think it
They're gonna be
depends. I
trying to
think
lock
on ground vehicles and stuff you would, but ship to ship, we've already proven with the Mustangs they're not very reliable because the ships are too maneuverable in space and they dodge them fairly easily. Stationary objects, whole different deal. On the ground, like a ground-to-ground rocket launcher or something would probably be effective because ground vehicles are a lot easier to track on a horizontal plane. You don't have three-dimensional space you can easily maneuver in like a spaceship. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll have to... That's a good question.
But I am very fast. Then Space Zombie, you can do it.
There you go. There you go.
Good question.
Agent 1213 for his second question says, how will ammo be loaded into weapons? Will magazines automatically be automatically or actually loaded? Okay, so he wants to know if the rounds in a magazine will you have to physically load.
That's actually a really interesting question.
Yeah,
I don't think they've discussed
put them in one by one, or just
if you say you wanted to stock, if you bought bulk ammo, would you have to individually stock those? I think for game simplicity, the mags would already be preloaded. Like you would buy
if Armor
whatever.
doesn't do it, I don't see SC doing it.
Yeah,
But you know what? I'll tell you what. If let's say I know that I'm going out on, say, an Operation Pitchfork mission, and I am going into combat, I might want to get stockpile ammunition and sit there like a classic World War II combat pilot, or World War I combat pilot for that matter, and just sit there, spend the entire night like Porco Rosso, going one bullet at a time. Is this one?
Maybe as an emote.
This one's got your name on it.
Yeah,
it stays. Throw that one out.
Maybe
People
as an
might wanna have that
emote,
moment.
or maybe as like I could see doing it like on a pistol mag for like effect or something. But there's no way in hell I'd be loading magazines for like a large caliber LMG or like my spaceship. You can get fucked. I'll pay somebody to do that. It's like we're not gonna sit there and like, all right, I got a box of loose ammo. Let's fill up about 70,000 rounds. Go for it, bros. Like no.
Oh,
I'm good on
I
that.
could just see you there with grabby hands. You spill them on the floor, and you got to pick them up one by one.
But then again, there are also auto loaders that we use today. So I would think there would be some futuristic version of that. So if you don't want to do it by hand, and yet you still want to be cheap and get the stockpile ammo versus the pre-packed ammo, then you just get an auto loader and pop, pop, pop. There you go. You make your own magazines.
Yeah. Well, Robo says, what if you want to load a different type of bullet every other shot? I could see that, but in most situations you don't do that. Like the most I've ever loaded in real life is maybe every 5th or 6th round being like a tracer round or something, but I've never loaded any. That would be super fucking expensive, first off. Every other shot.
You probably just switch clips. You would have one clip with that ammo type and the other clip with that ammo type. That's the best way you can really do.
I would say you would probably buy it. It would be a service thing where you would buy it by the magazine or load, whether it was a barrel clip or whatever, and you would just do that and probably just dump the mag when it's empty, and that. Just move on. I don't think you. Yeah, I don't think you would. But I could see them adding an emote. I'd be cool with them adding an emote or something just for people who wanted to RP it and have like loading. Right. That would be cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But actually physically doing that in the game's already going to take a long time. It's like somebody's going to kick their feet up on their console while they're like flying across space. I got 45 minutes. I'll load all my ammo.
Sure. Maybe. I mean, if you don't have someone to play cards with, why not?
Yeah. Play Star Wars chess in the back.
There you go.
Against yourself.
Yeah. Little creature throwing
like
you
that
down.
Pixar short. You go from one side of the table, you move your piece, go to the other side of the table.
Absolutely.
There you go.
There you go.
Next question by RoboFan. Do you think it might be ever possible to see a trench warfare at SC on planet or moon bases?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't not trenches, but I can see battle bases. Like you're holding down the fort, you guys are up like boom, boom, boom. But as far as a trench, hell no, we don't even see that now in our time, really.
I see what he's saying. That he's talking about some of his favorite things to do in PlanetSide 2 was like to, it was his favorite thing to have happen in PlanetSide 2, where you had like, you know, 2 full picket lines of people and you get those big gunfights and stuff. He's like, do you think we'll have the same sort of complex coordinated combat that you'd see in this? I think it'll be more complicated.
Oh, but PlanetSide 2, yeah, I did like that. I thought he meant like trenches, like in fucking Battlefield 1.
Well, I think he means in trench. You know, like where you go through hills, and they have like in kind of PlanetSide 2, they have those areas before bases where it's almost like a pseudo trench.
Okay, I got you.
I can see that, but I don't know to that scale, at least not initially. But at the same time, I think you're going to have it more complicated because you're going to have a different element of air power. You're going to have orbital power. So it's going to be a whole different element. If they can get that many people on grid and stuff, you can actually get some crazy stuff.
I mean, we're also thinking in terms of what sounds like these more densely populated regions. What if we're talking about some of these fringe systems where they're, say, closer to Von Duel space and they don't necessarily have the same support of like a UEE fleet always there? I mean, it's going to be militia versus the enemy, and
or militia versus militia,
going to be completely different. So you might find cases where you come across deep entrenchment of some format. I mean, it's a tried and true tactic. So it's
I think you're going to see a lot of that on the edges of space too, because you're going to have elements of things that are player NPC, and I think you're going to have a lot of different conflicts the farther you get away from the reach of the UEE support fleets and stuff. I think it's going to be more Wild Wild West style. That's just kind of how it is.
Yes.
Like someone said, I don't think you're going to see 200 people versus 200 on this fucking game.
I don't know.
They're going to have to.
The graphics, dude, on PlanetSide, I don't know.
Here's the thing.
Because, the ships are going to have their own, what they say, like it's going to have its own zone or whatever.
Yeah, but I think you'll have 200 versus 200, but it's going to be different than people think. Like in space, it's going to be different than people think. Like, okay, on PlanetSide, you have hundreds, not just 200 versus 200. There's hundreds, right? But you never see hundreds, even on PlanetSide. Even though it's all rendered there, it's all out there for you, you never see all those guys.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, PlanetSide too. Yeah, you never see all
because you can't see the overall sweeping thing. And it's going to be even more encapsulated on spaceships. But you're going to have the same issue on land because with the LODs and everything, you might see no more than 20 or 50 people around you, even at the max cap. You know. But I think in these conflicts, you will see hundreds of people involved in some of the conflicts. If you ever go into space and you have a Bengal, you're going to have like 50 dudes board the thing and try to pin it down while there's a gunfight, while there's other stuff happening. And they're going to be bleeding in the ship. And the guys in space fighting might never see the dudes because they're not even rendering. They're so far away. And those 50 people might be fighting 20 people over bridge crew while the rest of the people are running the deck. So in essence, you have a 70-man fight going against a 30-man fight going against what maybe only be 6 ships. But each of these ships has 20, 30, 100 people in them. I mean, the scale of that, then literally you have hundreds and hundreds of people fighting. But the perceptive is maybe the grid's only rendering like 50, the largest group in a grid is 70, right? That they see. You just wouldn't see all the other people, but they're all there. It depends.
Remember, you've got grids inside grids inside grids.
Yeah,
inside
and
grids.
It shifts, right, as they move. So you don't know. It's like they go from this plane to this, and all that stuff. So that streaming in all comes into play there. So in the overall conflict, could totally be hundreds and hundreds of people, but you just don't know. So
true.
I don't know. It's just like No Man's Sky. Somebody's going to try and do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Somebody's going to go down test is going to go down to a planet and say, let's get every single test member on this planet.
They already have scheduled the ultimate stress test for the game. Operation Pitchfork literally says, hey, everybody's going to... I mean, that's like right there. If that'll break the server.
Server's going to fucking blow up.
Yeah, that'll break the server to begin with. They'll have to reschedule that event like 20 times before it actually works.
I think it's definitely going to be a good test of the zoning system to see whether or not their build of a multi-server system is actually capable of
managing something. That's why I think that's going to perpetuate. They'll be like, let's do Operation Pitchfork. Oh, it broke it. Let's do it again. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Yep. And it's like, maybe after the first year, they'll actually get it to go off. So, there you go. All right, so let's see. If they implemented, and I didn't see who asked this question because I moved it over. Guns and Glue says, if they implemented a discount for subscribers, then should they make it so the discount persists when you melt. Currently, you melt a ship at the purchase cost, and have to buy it back at the original cost before the discount, unless you contact support to revert the melt for you. That's a great question. That's a great question. So if it's a temporary discount, like with the coupon for $7, if you melt that ship and you try to buy it back right now, you lose that discount. You lose that $7. You have to buy it back at the full price. You don't get your.
Yeah, you should. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you made the choice to get rid of it. I would say with that, if they gave us a discount with subscribers, as long as you're still a subscriber, you would still get your discount.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I think it's too much of a pain in the ass to keep, tabs on all that.
Mm-hmm.
Sending an email through concierge service or, whatever is just as good. Saying, hey, I did this and now I still want my discount.
Yeah.
So
I would just make it an on or off. If you're subbed, you get a discount. If you're not subbed, you don't. And it's only for new money. It has nothing to do with credit. You won't get a discount on ship for credit. It works the same way it always does. If they would implement something like that, I think that would be a better avenue for them overall. But, that's just my opinion again. Okay, next question comes from Thrace. He says, the new Inner Thought looks great with highlighting items, etc. Do you think there's something better than menus, voice attack, hotkeys that would give a more fluid interface along with this focus system? You look at an item, the ideal way to select what to do with it. Do you think there's something better, like a better type of interface that you can think of than what they're going for right now, or?
That's kind of hard to tell. I mean,
we got to get our hands on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, it's not like they just threw this together. They've been working on this for a while, so I would assume they've gone through some iterations of what.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other games. Like a lot of the games I played, it's really cluttered, and it seems like SC's doing a better job than them. Yeah. When I'm trying to equip stuff and do stuff in Armor, this scroll wheel and how clunky and ancient it is, it's terrible.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I like how unintrusive the design currently is, and I'm hoping that the simplicity of it actually allows for some really great immersive experiences. And once we actually have first iteration in our hands and we can play with it, we can interact with the environment, with the assets in the environment, that's when we're going to have an opportunity to really start figuring out where it is strong and where it's weakest and what might work better. There's just no measure for it right now.
Yeah.
It's better than the use button.
Yes.
Okay, and another question from Thrace. He says, I about lost it with the volumetric fog and effects and lighting. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts on thoughts regarding atmospheric effects versus things like HUD, gameplay, game balance, anti-sniping, smoke screens, and your general hopes for this as more of it than a cinematic effect. Like, how do you think it's going to impact gameplay, in other words? Like, what do you see these type of elements come into play with? So, Toy, what about you? What do you think the impact of these, the potential impact of the volumetric type effects will be on gameplay?
Oh, I think it's going to be awesome. And really, I hope they get it so it interferes with, like, the radars and stuff. Like they were talking about how you need to use different types of radar to scan different areas, so you could hide nebulas, but you can't see through the nebula, but maybe you can infrared through the red, nebula and see a ship hiding in there. So I'm hoping they have all kinds of stuff like that.
I picture a whole Raft of Khan thing going on with that. It'd be cool.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is just exactly what I want.
Yep. That'd be cool. How about you, Nighthawk?
What?
More or less the same experience. For me, I try to think of it more from the first-person angle, and a lot of times I'm looking at it from a sense of exploration. If I'm down planet side, what is it that I'm experiencing? Whether it's a weather experience or some other more direct incident like incoming fire, there is going to be some effect on the immediate atmosphere. And I like that the way they're building everything is so layered and dynamic. You're going to have an internal system like within your suit, right? And everything is there. You're going to have the breathing going on here. You're going to have the heads-up display going on the glass. You're going to have your Mobi glass, and that's its own separate display. And then outside of that, you're going to have all these volumetric fog, and you're going to have particle effects, and you're going to have all these things that just come brushing through. So it would be really freaking cool to be stuck inside this suit in the middle of a sandstorm and not be able to see the Mobi glass in front of your face.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to have a hit on your radar and know that there's something close by, but not know if it's human, not know if it's some kind of indigenous animal, not know if it's some sort of drone. All you know is that there is motion over there, but you can't see it because the fog is so thick, or the sand is blowing so hard, or the rain is coming down so intensely. Not only can you not identify it, but you can't draw a bead on your target. So you have to adapt. That's awesome. Like, no game has given me that experience, and I'm looking forward to it. I want the challenge of surviving where I am.
Now, well, like you said, adapting to the sandstorms and what your target. I kind of experienced that a little bit in Battlefield 1. It's some people, it's either they hated it or they loved it. When the sandstorm came, I would have my chance to run away from snipers because they were picking me off. And as soon as I seen that sandstorm, I got happy because everything was going to have to be close combat. No more long combat, no more snipers, because you're going to get wrecked on my shotgun now. So I hope they really do that, and Star Citizen where it will affect you like that. But even more so, maybe with the weather, if it's cold and you don't have the right suit on to keep you warm, I think there should be side effects to that. If it rains, maybe have some floods or something. You have to have the right vehicles to get through that. If it's mud and sticky, maybe you have to use the Dragonfly instead of the Rover. Yeah. So stuff like that, I really hope they implement. It's just not something that looks real cool. It's actually something that you could use.
Yep, absolutely. Sage Real said, okay, as a follow-up to the favorite Trek captain, who was the best Trek captain? I think that would probably fall along the lines of people's opinions with like the captains they chose as their favorite their opinion would be the best, which obviously is Jean-Luc Picard's the best captain because he was the most captain-like. Whereas Kirk was a rogue. He was an adventurer and he got a lot of awesome stuff done, but I don't think he was a great captain because he broke the rules all the fucking time just to do random shit, whereas Picard was a lot more of a leader figure in my book. But that's
disciplined leader.
Yes.
No, I completely agree with you 100% there.
So it's my opinion.
In terms of best captain, I choose Picard every time. Favorite captain, more often than not.
Yeah. All right. I'll get to Mockers here in a minute because I know
he's like, Star Wars
Mockers think we're throwing away the game because we're not talking about hacking that they talked about 6 months ago and because they showed a dial pad. But we'll talk about it because I know they showed it in there. It's like, hacking! I'm like, I know they did it. I couldn't get all the video in. I ran out of time. It took me over an hour to cut all that video.
But that's kind of exciting.
It is really exciting.
Joya Herald.
The next question is the ship interior exterior lighting control in 3.0? I do not believe so. I do not believe the interior and lighting controls where you can manipulate them as a pilot. I haven't seen anything saying that they're in 3.0. They might pop in there, but I haven't heard anything about it as of yet.
They didn't even say what size ships are going to have that feature. So I'm guessing what, Starfarer size and up?
No, you might find it.
You might find a freelancer even, something that has large cargo area.
Also, they are going to put it in the small ships where you could turn the lights on and off.
I would think in the medium-sized ones at least. Why not? Something that would have that kind of lighting. Anything that would have a cargo area and bigger, I would think that would make sense. Like even a Cutlass would make sense.
Even the Mustang Beta, if you think about it, because if you're in the cockpit, you want to be able to focus 100% on what's out in space. You don't want to forget that you left the light on.
I know. I want my
the trunk, and you're turning this way, and you see something in your periph, and all of a sudden you're distracted when you shouldn't be.
And if I can't have my hue lights, so I can make them go green or red or pulse to music while I'm flying, get the fuck out. Cool.
Pulse to music.
Fighting baby. RGB.
My rave inside. Mm-hmm. All right. now we'll go with the epic conversation from Mocker Gaming of hacking ? So what he's referring to is the access control of ships. They did show a little teaser on that, and basically they showed the fact that they'd have some sort of hacking gameplay, like we already knew they would, but they showed the actual mini demo of it. We don't know if it'll stay that way or not. And then they showed that you could actually type in the code on your keypad, which is pretty awesome too. But yeah, ship control is pretty awesome. What are you talking about, Mocker? It's like, heaven forbid we talk about something that impact gameplay, because nothing we've talked about tonight impacts the future of gameplay at all. You're right. Talk about audio in our ships. Who talked about audio in our ships? What are you talking about?
He's just shooting a rocket or trench warfare.
Oh, hey,
Well,
we talked about what the audience wanted to talk about, brother. I mean, there you go. They had fully developed questions asking about it, so there we go. Man. It's all good. But no, hacking should be pretty cool. I don't think it's the end all be all. People cry and bitch like little babies about people stealing their ships. Don't fucking park them out there in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that, And I don't think I think all it's going to do is encourage people. Now I want to try steal ships. I haven't stolen a ship from anybody in over a year, but now I want to, because if you add hacking to it, guess what? I want to try the hacking gameplay. So
I don't know, because every time I do that all the time now. When I stream, I just see what's the biggest ship I could steal, like a Connie, and if there's a full crew, I'm just wrecking everyone and taking the ship and then blowing up. It's real satisfying.
Well, you saw the video of the drawer, right? Break the drawer open.
Yep.
So
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Have that for all the weapons lockers.
I just don't think. I don't think. We don't even know when they're going to implement that. I mean, they're showing little things of it, but we'll see. But hopefully,
what kind of mini game they're going to have for it.
Well, I think it's really nice to see that even at this early a stage of development, in terms of the systems that would support that, they're already accounting for that style of gameplay. Whether or not they have everything in place to support actually developing
the hacking mechanics. The question remains: are they going to have breaching? Because they originally said they were. Where you'd be able to breach a hole. Because I'm sorry, in the middle of space, I'm not going to play your fucking mini game on the control pad trying to figure that out. If I'm in a space fight trying to get in your ship, trying to figure out your passcode. You know what I mean?
You got to have that in.
You got to have some sort of breach mechanic too. But I'd say you'd have to have a dice roll saying that you'd actually damage your cargo, or there'd be some loss for taking the fast route. You know what I mean? So that way it's balanced, because you don't. If you want the integrity of the ship to be there and all that stuff, you're not going to be able to just blast your way in and expect the ship to be there.
Yeah. Well, another question is what? I mean, I understand they have control panels with items you're going to need to repair and replace and stuff, but a door, is that going to be some of the extra cargo you're going to have to carry around in case somebody breaches you?
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, alternatively, that's one of the reasons why you have insurance. You go to the next location where you can either talk to an insurance agent or say talk to the RSI agent, and they'll take it into the back of the RSI dealership, and 2 hours later you got your new door. Yeah. Who knows? And
it's going to be interesting to see how far they take that. I mean, because the element that I thought was interesting they didn't mention when it came to hacking or locking packages or anything like that was like, are you going to have to hack open those boxes? Like, some of those boxes have panels on them too. Like, you take cargo, I mean, we're going to have to hack that. It's like, that's the whole thing. Because then it comes a real aspect of, say you're a pirate and you loot the ship. Well, if I don't, break in this box appropriately, I could damage all my loot that I just took. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah,
or even better, potentially set off a silent beacon.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, why wouldn't you put beacons in, every third container or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case they get stolen.
Why not? Yeah, especially if you're going in a bad area of town, you might as well try to get some of that stuff done. But yeah, I think definitely those are all possibilities.
Well, and you got to think, there could be something in that box more valuable than the whole fucking ship. Like, say, if you find some diamond or some shit that's...
Well, you would think the cargo would be more valuable than most of the ship, or else it's not worth moving in the ship half the time, right? Because especially in a dangerous area, you want to take high-value cargo, or you want to take a safer route. You know, if you're not taking
one
some of
ship
that stuff.
confirmed for that is the whole E. They said it costs more to fill it up than what the ship's actually worth. So
Yeah, if you filled it up to capacity.
Yeah.
Because it holds so much stuff.
It's made loads.
Yeah, that's another great point. Like Macher's talking about having different systems, you know.
Absolutely.
So like,
you don't want to
various-
have you don't want to have it all be vanilla, like if I do this, then it all opens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pointless.
Yeah, I don't want to walk up to every door, every panel, every container, and it's the same, just a 5-digit code.
Like maybe I have to have different types of tools to break into different boxes and stuff like that.
Yes,
Or,
I would love hacking not to be entirely dependent on doing shit on a computer. It would be wonderful if sometimes part of this hacking involved you actually getting underneath the console and maybe crossing the wires physically to get past a certain level of security.
Pulling a panel
and then
off a box or something, and you have to rewire it. Yeah.
I mean, there should definitely be something more to it. And another aspect of hacking, I mean, how would hacking work if you brought that into, say, defensive countermeasures? Like the hacker could also be, say, the sensors officer, and they're constantly trying to counterplay any activity that active sensors on other ships might be taking against your ship. So they could try to keep people from actively trying to scan you and see what's in your cargo.
What happens if I rewire my self-destruct to my guns and I stand out and moon him in front of his ship? I mean, there you go. He tries to shoot at me and it blows his whole ship up. That'd be fun. So,
moon that fucker.
Yeah.
I thought about that too. If they allowed you to like change the controls on your own ship or something, and somebody tried to steal it. Yeah, so instead of going forward, all of a sudden the ship goes in reverse.
Yeah, everything's backwards. I'm like, I fly fully inverted. Everything. Be crazy.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you could just be that one guy who every time he leaves his ship just decides to pull his avionics suite, take it with him.
There you go. Just pull it out.
Snatch.
Like, sure.
I just want to put a boot on my ship. So it's like I take like the fuel diode or something, and it's like my personal boot. It's like you might break into it, but you can't get the fuel to go to the power cell in order to go to the engine, so you're done.
Yeah, like stealing the bike. If someone steals a bike, they make sure they don't get stolen. They just take their whole fucking tire with.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just hauling the engine with me.
This is coming with
I got an anti-grav pad pushing it. I'm just pushing the whole motor. Just keeping it out of there. All right. One last question, then we're going to draw this riffle raffle. Guys, if you haven't gotten it yet, it's !SpaceBros in chat for an 85X, courtesy of Mr. GioGetMoney. So let's go ahead and get this thing done. Last question, not really Star Citizen related, but it's another character question. Who was the best character from Firefly?
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, Captain Reynolds.
That's hard.
kind of a tie for me. I really like Captain Reynolds. I think out of all the characters in the series, probably most fleshed out and one of the least explored in overall character arc. I also really like the Preacher because he's not at all what he is, and you never really learn anything about him except for the fact that he's like some big to-do somewhere.
That's
Preacher.
I don't know. I know it's blasé, but I'll go with River because she was badass. Just like blacked out and kicked everybody's ass, and she was super ninja girl. I loved her. She was good.
River was awesome.
River was awesome. Picard was the best Firefly captain. Permanently. No matter where you go, Picard wins.
Give me Mod to take his sword away.
There we go. Down with his sword! All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to go back over to our beautiful, sexy raffle window. And we're going to pull this 85X for you guys. So let's flip over here.
Maybe you have a matching 600 series ship soon.
Oh, baby.
Oh, I thought that was coming next. I didn't know another fighting ship was coming. I'm like, ah.
I don't care if they're fighting ships or not. I just want more game mechanics.
Is that the name of the, you know what? I'm trying to think. Was that the name of the starter ship? I just thought about that. What was the name of the Age of Starter ship that didn't win? Was it the Eclipse?
I don't remember.
I think that's what this ship is going to be.
What's the Hurricane's branding? What companies was the Hurricane made by?
Hurricane was RSI, wasn't it?
I think you're right.
Originally, I think RSI.
Well,
Who
let me
knows?
see.
All right, here's your next passphrase, guys. Get ready to burn it to memory. Remember, do not say it in chat unless you are the person drawn. That is your super catchphrase. If you're a sub, you won't say anything. Again, Twitch does not sponsor or endorse any of our giveaways. They're all provided by me, myself, and I, Mitachi Entertainment LLC, or the generosity of the Space Bros, such as in this case, Mr. GioGetMoney. So let's see who's going to win this puppy here. And
Scimitar wasn't the next great star ship. That wasn't a ship they were actually selling, even though they said they think they may sell it again. Well, not again, but sell it eventually.
all right. In 3, 2, 1. Looks like Salty Old One-Eyed Condor is the winner.
Oh my God, what a great name!
I know. It's one of my favorite names. So congratulations, Salty. You are the wiener. I am going to send you a specialized Twitch message here so we can get you hooked up with Mr. Gio, and we will, get all that stuff sorted. Sorted and stuff. Super rigged. All right. Yep, you're good, man.
Message me now.
You want to message, if you can message GioGetMoney, you will get your shit. I'll write that in your mail. Message. No, I didn't mean to say massage. I don't think it was that kind of raffle.
Oh yeah, massage me, baby.
There we go. And that is sent off, sir. All right,
I
and get this stuff
I
going
almost
there.
gave my LTI one.
Ooh.
Like I didn't give him that one. This was only a 6 months one.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, my LTI.
Toys banned forever. Let's go ahead and go over here. We're gonna make sure that we wrap this up right, guys. All right, thank everybody for being here so much, Mr. GioGetMoney. Thank you for being here, sir. Mr. Nighthawk Zale, Toy, all you guys.
Pleasure.
Let's go around the room one more time. Tell them what you got coming up, what you're gonna be working on, all that stuff, and where they can find you. Gio, let's start with you, sir. Tell us all about where they can watch you next and when they can watch you next.
You guys can see me on YouTube, GioGetMoney TV, or GioGetMoney. I don't know which one I switched it to. And then Twitch is GioGetMoney. So hopefully I'll be streaming this week once I settle down.
PUBG.
Yes, PUBG, Star Citizen. I'm actually going to probably start firing up some more armor too because I've been heavy into that. So
Squad.
yes, Squad. Oh yeah, we haven't played Squad in a while. Well,
No, we need to play. We need to play that.
Yeah.
All right, Nighthawk, what's going on? Tell them where they can find you, when they can find you, and all that good stuff.
So, as mentioned before, my name is Nighthawk Zale, primarily a Star Citizen streamer, also doing creative streams on Twitch, Nighthawk_Zale. Same on the Twitter. You can follow me on the Twitter for any updates about the schedule. Schedule is kind of up in the air still because we're just at the tail end of first year with a new baby in the house. I'm working hard at streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sundays every week. So the times vary, but those are my stream days. When I stream creative, it's either tabletop game design or 3D work. Right now, building something a little large. Otherwise, it's Star Citizen gameplay, organization building, all the good funds.
Cool. Nice. So definitely be checking them out. It's a good schedule, too. It's a good schedule, so definitely while watching you. Toy, when are you going to be streaming next? You still do some impromptus on stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start streaming more because every time I don't, somebody gets on and yells at me, and they're like, why aren't you streaming right now? So,
well.
You know, I have to take a trip to wherever Space Zombie lives and pay him a personal visit first. So after I get back from that trip, then I'll stream.
There you go. After you get done doing that, if you handle your business,
Somebody gonna
Remember to wash your hands.
Something's gonna happen there. Something's going down.
Kinky.
It's not that kind of party. Anyway, guys, thank you again for being here so much. And everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. It is now... Yeah, it's pretty late. So I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
But I'll be on tomorrow, so
show.
be sure to check all that out and more. Be watching for our new podcast that'll be hopefully starting by the beginning of next month called The Stream Theory, where we're going to be encapsulating all the different streamers that want to be a part of it, whether you're an affiliate, whether you're a partner, all this stuff on Twitch, and just discussing about your experiences and your questions to help you and ourselves become better for this overall community. So it should be pretty cool. So be watching for more news and information about that. And without further ado, we're going to get the fuck out of here, guys. So be sure to tune in next week at Friday, 10 p.m. CST, and then wait about 15, 20 minutes till I actually get on the air. And we'll have another SpaceBro show. It'll be pretty awesome. So we'll see you then, guys.